Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you coverage of the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series as the drivers try to take off for the penultimate race of the season, the last race of the round of 8, to figure out who will be the 4 drivers to race in Homestead next week for the Season 6 Championship. Tonight, the drivers tackle Iowa Speedway, a short track that can be a handful at times, and especially with the new iRacing update, this track is going to be a tough one. We can't wait to give you all the coverage here tonight on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be Zach Hall. And Zach, we've had a fun season, but it's all come down to this. 8 drivers will cut down to 4 at the end of tonight.
Well, this is going to be so nail-biting, I think, for a lot of these guys coming in here tonight, Sam. It's everything on the line, and if you want to go fight for a championship next week, you got to be able to get out of Iowa with a good finish. And, man, it may take a win from a few of these guys possibly, but it's going to be one of those situations where anything's possible with stage points. We just got to see who can go out there and get things done, but it's all going to start here soon with this qualifying session coming up. Get that track position early will really help your case for some early stage points.
We already know 2 of the 8 drivers on how their next week race is going to be. That's going to be John Forbes, winner of last week's race at Legacy, Texas, going to be already locked into the championship round. Going to be one of our former champions, trying to go for history, become the first 2-time champion in the ISRC Truck Series. And then sadly, Christopher Norris, who would have been entering tonight, 3rd in points, had a great run at Legacy, Texas, but he had to win if he wanted to run for a championship. He's off on vacation. Zach, that's going to be a tough one for Christopher Norris, knowing that he is already out, and it's now down to just 6 drivers and 3 spots to be grabbed.
That's right, Sam. It was a tough break for him, not being able to make it here, of course, on vacation. And, he did everything possible. He gained a lot of points there in Texas, and if he would have been here tonight, he would have had a good shot of moving on to that Final Four once again, like we've seen him a couple of seasons ago do. But it's one of those situations where he couldn't get it done, but I think other drivers are going to try to take advantage of him missing tonight and use that to their advantage to get those final spots here, so to say. I think really only one driver coming in tonight, I think, other than Cedric Hunter. Everybody else can point themselves in. I think Cedric's going to need most likely a win in that 7 truck since he had to do a start park last week, but everybody else, the points are super tight.
Yeah, we're going to give you a little bit more of an in-depth point of view of how the points are entering to tonight when we look at the point standings after qualifying. But the drivers we're watching out for, again, John Forbes is already locked in. The 6 drivers that are going to be racing here tonight for a chance to run for a championship next week. It's going to be Vincent Sora, Jarek Talmadge, Justin Campbell going to be inside of our top 4. Then looking outside, hoping for a good run this evening, Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, and Cedric Hunter. Those are your 6 drivers we're going to be watching out for. There's also a couple of drivers that are non-playoff contenders, like you see on screen of the 2 machine of Danny Cochran. They have been quick here in the past here at Iowa. Danny is the previous winner of this track last season. Going to be watching out to see if Danny can maybe steal the show, or could it be someone else trying to steal the show here tonight? Well, it's going to be starting out here with qualifying here very shortly as practice comes to a conclusion. It's time to see how these drivers will be setting up for the grid for the Blackjacks return 175 here at Iowa Speedway. Fastest driver in practice going to be Vincent Sora in the 15, but we've seen drivers in practice get a little bit more help for themselves. We'll see if they can find maybe that extra little bit of speed here this evening. But looking at qualifying here, Zach, track position, how important do you feel like qualifying is going to be here tonight?
It can be a huge factor. Iowa is a place, in my opinion, where you can get passes done. It's a multi-groove track. You can kind of work the bottom all the way to the top of this place against the wall. So I think, if you have a bad qualifying run, it's not the end of the day. But I think the most important thing for these guys who are so close in points is getting that good qualifying run sets them up for that lap 50 stage to try to go get those bonus points. We know how valuable those can be, and if you can qualify well, it's going to allow you to give a few more opportunities to yourself, definitely to help your situation.
And then some of those bonus points the drivers can grab. You earn 1 bonus point for leading a lap, 1 bonus point for having 0 incidences here tonight, 3 bonus points for leading the most laps, and then 10 to 1 bonus point for finishing at the top 10 at the stage, mattering a position you finish at the end of our stage break. Again, stage is going to be at the end of lap 50 here tonight. But for track position, some of these drivers get their first laps, and it's going to be Jesse Thornock, who had one of his best finishes of the season for the 20 machine. Currently, top of the board, take that back. It's going to be Samuel Garcia taking that top spot, but expecting a lot of fluctuation of the top of the board. Who's going to take that spot is Vincent Sora, fastest during practice. Well, he is right back to the top here for qualifying.
Very close to matching those times that they were able to put there in the practice sessions. Like Cedric Hunter's teammate is going to jump up the second with his, and that's much needed for the 7. Like we said, most likely in a must-win position for him after having the start part last week. He'll be liking it where he's at is now. It's going to be Ali Fonseca jumping up the 3rd, Danny Cochran up the 4th. So the board fluctuating as lap times continue to click in here at the Iowa Speedway.
Yeah, huge surprises on the fact that Ali Fonseca, Danny Cochran, and Joshua Kanata not able to be making it to the round of 8. They were knocked out in the round of 12, but they are drivers that could be major factors to watch out for here tonight and next week on trying to build out maybe some helpful bonus points and just points in general that drivers can grab by driving up front and get some good points and positioning. So that's Justin Campbell, one of our drivers to watch out for here tonight, going to be at the cutoff line for his 4th career on the board. Nick Crawford, Jared Talmadge, 7th and 8th after they're done with their times. Jared Talmadge has 1 more lap to go for himself, but a driver I'm thinking a lot, I've been hearing a lot of watch out for, Cody Reed in the 25, who led the most laps here at Iowa last season. He's hoping that this 25 can find some extra speed for himself.
That would be a great scene for him. He definitely wants to have his best race of the season. It could be super critical on trying to move him into that fight for his first championship. You know, we got a lot of past champions still left in this thing with Vincent Sora, John Forbes, Nick Crawford still having opportunities. Of course, John Forbes will be fighting for that championship next week. But who's going to, be the driver that could say, hey, I could be a first-time champion? Because we've never seen a repeat champion. So if you haven't won it yet, you might have that luck on your side.
And also a first time making it to the Final Four. This could be massive for Cody Reed. He's still trying to get his first ever Final Four appearance for the 25. Other drivers trying to get their first Final Four appearance going to be Jarrett Talmadge, who's ran the first 3 seasons and then returning here for season 6. He's hoping for a best chance as Cody Reed spins out off the exit of the corner, and there was a lot of momentum. He was looking for a good time, but the 25 will start all the way back in 20th position unless Malik Coates can move him further down the board. But a shocker for the 25, big spin out of turn 4.
Oh man, he's gonna have his work cut out for him in these first 50 laps to try to get up there and salvage any bit of points he possibly can. Right now, Malik Coon's going to jump up the 19, so that does slot Cody back to 21st, and that's going to be, next to last on the field. So Reed definitely going to feel concerned with that starting position, but like you said, he led the most laps here last season. This has got to be a track that he's feel comfortable at, and if you think about it, it's more similar to the tracks that we've seen him before perform well. And wow, Malik Coons, his second lap around, he jumps up to 3rd on the board.
Really found some speed here at Iowa Speedway was Malik Coons, up to 3rd as qualifying's coming to a conclusion. All drivers have called it a night qualifying. They're going to be setting up for themselves into warm-ups, where drivers will have a 5-minute warm-up period, try to get some last practice in, try to find maybe a little bit of extra spacing of figuring out where their pit stall is, but figuring out this track a little bit more. Zach, big thing of note, the new update with these trucks. Well, a lot of drivers were surprised of how this track of Iowa has gotten a lot difficult, and we even saw it during qualifying. This is going to be a tough track overall to watch out for. As qualifying's coming to a conclusion, we are going to be getting prepared to take a look at our point standings entering here tonight. As we talked about, in-depth looks again here tonight. We're going to have 7 drivers to watch out for as currently on the board, third place position is Christopher Norris, but Norris will not be racing here tonight. You can practically move him out of the way, move that line down, and we will then have our 4 drivers inside of the top 4: John Forbes, Vincent Sora, Jared Talmadge, and Justin Campbell. Then we have Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, Cedric Hunter. The points difference for Vincent Sora, he's up 10 points off of the tie drivers for 4th place of Campbell and Crawford. 5 points over the line is going to be Jared Talmadge, with Campbell and Crawford both tied for 4th and 5th place. Cody Reed will be down 4 points. Down 18 is Cedric Hunter, who, like we've noted on, if he does not get a massive stage points gain on all these drivers, he will be placed into a must-win scenario.
You're exactly right, Sam. If Cedric Hunter doesn't get, like, 10 points here in this stage, and then other drivers around him, such as Crawford, Reed, and Talmadge, and Campbell, they don't get points, it could be a possibility still to point himself in, but I think for himself, he knows it's probably a must-win. But from Reed, Crawford, and Campbell, I mean, right there, that is 4 points separating those drivers, and that is going to be, I think, where we got to watch it. Of course, Talmadge not that far ahead of him also, but I think Vincent Sora, he feels more on the safe side, especially with the qualifying running he's had here. But those are going to be, I think, the 4 drivers we got to circle tonight going through this race.
Who will grab those final positions? Going to be critical here tonight. Also of note, the battle for 17th, the best of the rest. They've got tonight and next week. Whoever finishes in the 17th position in points gets an extra $40 for themselves, as that is the best of the rest of the drivers that didn't make the playoffs, but were able to have their own competition to see who got the most points by the end of the season. That's between Tyler Dangler, Thomas Green, and Ryan Ferraro that have been the top 3 drivers to watch out for. We'll see how that picture looks a little bit clearer heading into Homestead next week. As we move away from the standings, we take a look at how we've gotten to this point, the schedule. I mean, we look at the start, it was a lot of Vincent Sora, Nick Crawford. Middle of the season, once again, it was the same picture. We've only seen 6 different winners this season, and it's really just been a fluctuation of seeing Nick Crawford dominate at times or Vincent Sora. And now recently, John Forbes has found his consistency here in the playoffs so far.
It's really been fun to see it bouncing back and forth with the momentum swinging from driver to driver. But, it's all about these last 2 races. If you don't get it done here tonight and join John Forbes, you won't have a shot to go fight for a championship. So I think the likes of Nick Crawford, who had, not a great race at Texas after being sick and having to pull over halfway through that race, I think he's going to be looking to maybe get back on the form that he was those past 6 races before Texas. I don't know if we've lost. Oh, sorry.
Nope, I just forgot to hit unmute myself. As we are done with the schedule, we will head into our pick'ems for ourselves on who we think are the drivers to watch out for here tonight. As we take a look, we're going with my pick, who I think I'm going to go with. We made these decisions before qualifying, in the middle of practice. I thought Cody Reed was going to be a driver to watch out for. Obviously now going to be the underdog pick, with starting so deep in the field, but still a driver to watch out for. And a driver I thought is going to be a favorite based off of the reactions all the drivers have been saying to watch out for this 25. Certainly one of the good drivers I think we should watch out for on later in the race, but this first stage going to be tough for Cody Reed. But Zach, who do you have on your pick'em for tonight?
I'm going to go with the first-time winner here at ISRC and a driver looking to get into that Final Four. I'm going to go with the 10 of Jared Talmadge. I watched him in practice. His lap averages looked very good. He led pretty much every average all the way up to the 25 lap mark. So look for this 10. He could have figured it out this week. He starts 5th. I like his chances.
And we're going to move on over to our producer for tonight of Robert Moyer Jr. And he's picking Jared Talmadge as well. I think both of you guys are onto something. That 10 machine has been on a Cinderella story from joining late in the season. It was very improbable that he was going to make the playoffs. He did, and continues on with his playoff push, trying to make his first ever Final Four appearance if he can get the win here tonight. As our warm-ups are done, qualifying's over, same for practice. We're about to be entering into tonight's race. It's going to be 175 laps here at Iowa Speedway. Stage break at the end, a lap 50. This is going to be one of our longer Iowa races. The longest Iowa race was actually a timed race back in season 2, where they ran 188 laps in that timed race for themselves. But here this evening, it's playoff racing. It's the last race of the round of 8 to see who will be in a chance to win a championship for season 6. Could it be a past champion in a position, or will it be someone else that could try to steal the show here tonight? Well, let's take a look at our starting grid here tonight, presented by Hot Lap Threads. Head on over to hotlapthreads.com. Check out the hot threads that you can find. Make yourself looking as styled as cars do out on track for your racing event. Taking the top of the board, it's Vincent Sora taking another pull for himself in the 15. Cedric Hunter, again, must-win scenario, or at least major points. 7 Machine will start in second place. Great qualifying time for the 98 machine of Malik Kuntz in the 98. Fourth, we find Ali Fonseca. Fifth, we find the 10 machine of Jarrett Talmadge. Sixth, it's Jarrett Talmadge's teammate of Thomas Green. John Forbes already locked into the final 4. He's waiting to see who else will join him. We'll start in 7th. 8th is the 9 machine of Justin Campbell. 9th is going to be the 2 of Danny Cochran. And finishing out our top 10, it's the 16 of Joshua Kanata.
Starting in 11th, this past champion Nick Crawford in the 74 machine, looking to work his way back to the final 4. 12th is going to be the 20 of Jesse Thornick after a great finish last week at Texas. 13th is going to be the 01 of Aaron Kralik. 14th in qualifying is going to go to Samuel Garcia. 15th is going to be the 6 of Justin Smith. 16th place is going to go to Anthony Gaudio. 17th is going to be GT Irizarry. 18th position here in qualifying is going to go to Ryan Ferraro. Alongside him in 19th is going to be Ethan Smith, with Tyler Dingler starting 20th. And then, of course, Cody Reed, that tough spin there in qualifying. We'll start him back in 21st, with Martin Morales Jr. starting 22nd to round out our field.
22 drivers will be expected to take the green here tonight. Stage break again at the end of lap 50. No fast repairs. 4 sets of tires in pit road. Zach, tonight the pressure is on. I mean, this is one of those races, especially the way Iowa's been handling towards these drivers. This is not going to be a fun one. There's got to be a lot of mentally fighting between the truck and yourself here tonight.
I think that's a great point, Sam. You know, this new update here with this truck, it seemed to make it a lot more on the driver's side of things. You know, before we talked a lot more about the aero, the track position, and really your, strategy. I think a lot of this tonight's going to come down to who is going to be the best driver here tonight, who's going to be able to handle this truck the most, because from what I've heard, they're a little unruly as the run goes on. So it's going to be difficult on that difficult side. And I think the driver that can master that will probably most likely end up in victory lane. And it's just going to be, I think, a fun one for us to watch, because they're going to have their hands full from the drop of the green flag.
Well, after tonight's race, we have the potential of having 3 of our 4 drivers that were past champion. Final 4, Danny Cochran again got eliminated in the round of 12. And now with the chance to become one of the first driver to become a 2-time champion in this series, John Forbes is already feeling comfortable, but for the likes of Nick Crawford, Vincent Sora, they need to hit their marks. They have to feel confident about the fact that they are past champions. They know how to get things done, and they'll see if they can find themselves into victory lane here this evening. I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us here tonight, as we are giving you coverage of the ISRC Layer Productions Truck Series Season 6 playoff racing for the round of 8. This is race 2 of the round to see who will be running for a championship here tonight, as the drivers will take one more pace lap around. Zach, these first couple of laps, especially the first stage, what are you expecting from these drivers here tonight?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of aggression, especially from these playoff drivers. They know that every point matters here. When you can go add a point to your total that another driver can't add, it could possibly set you up for not having to get that 1 to 2 more positions than that driver later in the race. So I think early you're going to see aggression from a few drivers. Vincent Sora, I think he might play this game a little safe just with his stature in the points. But I think drivers, if you're like Nick Crawford, a Justin Campbell, especially a Cody Reed back there starting 21st, you are going to be pushing for everything to get up there, get some track position so you can score those valuable stage points.
It's also going to be tough for those non-playoff drivers. How are you going to race around those that are trying to hunt for a chance to go for the Season 6 championship? That's going to be a tough task overall of making sure that you're having a great race, but you're not influencing everyone else's chances too much here tonight. But the pace car is about to be making the hard left-hander to pit road. It's time for us to go green here for the Blackjack returns 175. It's Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, teammates roaring down into turn number 1.
Great start there for Cedric Hunter. He was almost able to stay alongside his teammate, but Vincent Sora will clear him as they come through 1 and 2. But it's the battle from third on back. Already a little bit of sideways action as Malik Kuntz fighting the likes of the 24 Fonseca as they stack up from third on back.
They're stacking up side by side. Ali Fonseca, Malik Kuntz, and already Malik Kuntz, Jared Talmadge getting very close to one another off the exit of turn 4. But lap number 1, give it to the 15. Vincent Sora gets his bonus points. That's going to be so helpful for later on in this race. But the middle of the field, they're still 3 wide. Watch out. It's John Forbes, Jared Talmadge putting the 98 in the middle.
That they are. Malik Kuntz in that sucker hole, so to say, and he's been the one struggling. A little bit of the rear end kicking out sideways for him early in this race, but it looks like some heat has built up, and now he'll be able to clear that inside lunge from that 11 machine of John Forbes. And Talmadge trying his best to clear that 98 so he can push himself up into the top 5.
Jared Talmadge going to be able to clear Malik Kuntz for now. Now it's going to be even more playoff driver trying to get in the mix. It's Justin Campbell poking the nose in the middle. Let's go a little bit stacked 3 wide for a quick moment, but in line is going to be the field, as again, this is all battling for 9th, 7th, for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, all on top of one another, and majority playoff drivers, a couple of mixed and mingled non-playoff drivers, and oh no, it's Joshua Kanata going to the inside wall.
Very good job for him to save that truck, man. He really loose off the exit of 2, and it's really over that hump and that bump that you have there off the exit, and he was going straight towards that inside wall. Luckily, was able to get the car sliding and back towards the outside and didn't hit anything, so kind of all good there when it comes to damage. But right now, that battle continuing on. It's like Fonseca and Campbell still side by side here, so we might have seen this truck we're on board with get into the wall slightly.
That's going to be the 11 of John Forbes that we're on board with as he's following in the tire tracks of the 24 of Ali Fonseca. And John Forbes giving us a good sense of what it's like to be driving on this old configuration of Iowa. If you just watched this last weekend of NASCAR, they repaved the inside lane, allowing drivers to have a lot more grip. And on iRacing, didn't get that scan yet. So they're dealing with a much bumpier iRacing version of Iowa.
That they are. An old Fonseca going to close the door on the 11 there. So he had the run on the exit, but smart job from Forbes. Backs out of the situation, lets the 24 come up in front of him already early in this event, as right now looking like drivers are trying to find different ways to make speed. I think Cedric Hunter there, he took a look up into the top lane in 1 and 2. Now he's running the top of 3 and 4. Look, he's going to look to the outside of his teammate Vincent Sora. This could be for that lead position.
And the main reason why Cedric Hunter was being pushed to the outside was Thomas Green was putting a lot of pressure on the 7's back bumper, actually forced Cedric high, and recognizing their speed up there. Hunter going to be taking that lap left for the 7 machine.
Double bonus points for him, and like we said, it is most likely a must-win for him. But if something crazy here happens to a few of these drivers that are in front of him in stage, when it comes to stage points, if he's able to get that max 10, he would claw in a good bit of those points, and it would give him a possibility to possibly point his way in. So nothing is impossible here.
Absolutely not. But the big thing for Cedric Hunter is he might want a couple of those playoff drivers getting into one another. And the 2 I'm eyeing right now is Jared Talmadge and Justin Campbell, the 9 and the 10 machine. They've been very close to almost making contact between the 2, as actually the battle for second place is on. Jared, it's going to be seeing Jared Talmadge's teammate of Thomas Green setting up the pass on Vincent Sora, and Vinny just giving up that position very easily.
Very easy to give up that pass, and we'll see if it comes back to him. I think Vincent, again, like I said earlier, before we dropped the green flag, I felt like he was going to be patient here. He didn't need to do anything crazy, but he doesn't want to slip back too far and get his way into that mix where you can get involved in an incident so quickly.
Looking at the weather conditions entering tonight, ambient air temperature going to be 78 degrees, track temp 82 degrees. There's some slight wind they're dealing with that's pointing south and also kind of fluctuating in the south direction. But the humidity is pretty low at 29 degrees, but we're going to be seeing that day to night transition. The lights will click on by the time that this race is over, and seeing the lights click on, one of those drivers struggled during qualifying, but almost just outside of our top 10. Cody Reed has moved up to 14th position. He is on the move.
And he is. Reed definitely knowing he needs to get up there and get stage points. If he lets, Crawford, Campbell, and Talmadge get those points over him, it's going to be a tough hill for him to climb later in this race, but he's doing a good job. He's working that outer groove right here, trying to get past Aaron Kralik, but it's going to be the 50, the 3 of Anthony Gaudio, and the 50 of Samuel Garcia right ahead of him that he's trying to find his way past, but he can't be too aggressive yet because if he burns these tires up, he could be going backwards later in this run.
Started 20th up to 14th. Trying to find that opening just is not there yet. As we move up in front of him, the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th now is ramping up. As we're seeing Jared Talmadge, Justin Campbell, they're back at it again, and they brought some friends. We're starting to see a real gaggle of cars now mounting up from 4th on back.
This is really starting to get very interesting as Campbell's gotten past them. Fonseca just has not seemed to be able to be, single file from a majority of this race. Seems like he's been up top racing somebody for the majority of it. It's just been tough. And I think the one person you got to kind of watch out for in this grouping here is he's going to make the move on the 2 now as I speak about him. The 74 Nick Crawford, he usually lurks behind this group, and with all these drivers battling like this, he's taking opportunities. No. He's going to touch the 10.
Gets into Jared Talmadge, a slight contact, big save by the 10 machine. No one hits the wall, but it's going to be Malik Kuntz trying to take the capitalization on that move. Nick Crawford immediately over the radio apologizing, and we saw when we were right on board, he had such a huge momentum. I think he was shocked on how much slower the 10 was in the center of the corner.
That he was. I think he did not expect that 10 to not be able to get back to the gas right there, and just that slight touch. You already seen it. I think the 10 was already loose, and then that little bump, it almost sent him up into the wall. Great job by Talmadge. Quick hands there to save that machine. But now he's going to have to use them hands again because he's got his work cut out for him. Jesse Thornock into 3, Anthony Gaudio right here all over him as he clears them off before.
Able to get clear, and for right now for Talmadge, big thing is just gap himself away from that group, give him some space, try to cool off those tires. Talmadge has been very aggressive, trying to push to get ahead of the 9 for 4th place. Now he's got to fight for all the drivers just outside of the top of 10. Went from a comfortable points, maybe building up position, to now in a spot where Talmadge might have to be gaining positions at the end of this race to move on to the final 4. As we ride on board with the 3 machine of Anthony Gaudio, he's running that 3rd groove, trying to find that extra spacing and speed off the exit of the corner.
Is everybody right now is just searching. I've seen so many different grooves used, and that's what's beautiful about this Iowa Speedway. It is not a place where you got to run one specific line. You can really search around, find the clean air, so to say, and not follow that truck in front of you, but caution's out.
Caution's out, trouble in the back half of the field, and it's going to be the 01 of Aaron Kralik. Going to be spun around, I believe, issues with himself and GT Irizarry off the exit of turn number 4. And almost caught up in the mess was Cody Reed, who does get some slight contact in this wreck. And you're going to see it on the replay. The 01 of Kralik in the 14. Get a little bit loose off the exit. Looks like pushing loose, tight, then smashing the 25 into the wall. And for Cody Reed, that is a frustrating moment to be caught up in.
It really is. And that kind of laminates why you don't have that mistake in qualifying, because it puts you back in this mess. I mean, I'm sure a lot quicker than a lot of these trucks. He just couldn't find his way around, but you're going to see GT here. Late exit, a little bit loose. He's going to let that truck unwind the wheel. Same for the 01 getting loose, and it kind of just brings those 2 lanes together. Fortunately for Reed, who did get squeezed up into the wall, looking at his truck here for the closer look myself, Sam, just looks like a scuff on the side of the truck. Nothing too major with the damage, so I think Reed should be all good. Now it's just going to be the question of what do the drivers do pit strategy-wise. It's split.
It's split, and I'm not absolutely surprised by this. If you need stage bonus points, you come in, you take tires, you try to take every position possible. Huge surprise for me, Cody Reed is not pitting under this caution. That's probably the biggest surprise I'm seeing right now.
I think that's a blunder right there. I think he's going to look back at that and say, man, I should have went for those points, because you're seeing a lot of the competition who he needs points with, like Campbell and Crawford, who he's racing. They're coming down getting tires, and they're going to utilize those tires. We had already fell off about a good 6-7 tenths off our fastest laps, so I think you'll see these tires actually come into their own pretty quickly as we're getting to see that look at actually what the damage is like on the left side of that truck. Doesn't look too bad, but sometimes that side skirt damage can hurt you.
The side skirt, also you can see the quarter panels kinked in a little bit. There's just little bits of dings here and there that can add up for the 25, and I'm shocked that he didn't at least come in to see what the damage looked like for himself. And obviously for Cody Reed, he had a sensation of I want to see what track position I'm going to have, and he's going to be outside of the top 10 still, even with staying out. Drivers that decided to come into pit road. Going to be 14th on back. Topping off on fuel is Jesse Thornock in the 20 machine. But taking tires, Justin Campbell, Nick Crawford, Aaron Kralik going to be getting fuel. Mark Morales, Joshua Kanata, Tyler Dangler, and GT Rosari getting tires prepared for themselves. And we've seen this in the past. I think in the last couple of seasons in the playoffs, it always seems like there was always that middle of the stage caution, and the drivers that pitted take that advantage of their tires always seem to be in the better spot later on in the race. But maybe some of these drivers, they're banking on their luck, banking on some hopes that they'll maybe get a couple more cautions that enable them to keep this position, or we'll get a true test of what the true speed difference is going to be like.
Yeah, I think this will be our true test for sure. And, you know, I look to the likes of Talmadge and Reed. I mean, they're back in 8th and 11th right now. There's only back to 13th that didn't stay out. So everybody from 14th on back pitted, and it looks like everybody except, I believe, Kralik and Thornock, looks like their pit stops were a little bit quicker. So maybe 2 tires are just fuel for those two. We'll have to see how they take off. But majority of them drivers that came in took 4 fresh tires. If you're Reed, you got to be looking to get early positions on this start. Same for Jarrett Talmadge, because you want to put as many trucks in between you and those new tires to, just in case we do get a yellow, maybe you can take advantage of that later.
Curious, there is a technical issue going on with the 7 of Cedric Hunter. This was a worry entering tonight's race, as the 7 pulled very far ahead of the field, trying to give himself as much space as possible. I know one of our few VR drivers, 7 machine. Looks like he got his problem situated, and now we'll wait to get those lights clicked off on the pace car when they pass the line. But Zach, I know for Cedric, he is very worried about this race, and so are a couple of other VR drivers. The VR has been having issues these last couple of months with the updates that iRacing has been putting out.
That it has. There's been a lot of issues for that, and I think also with Cedric Hunter, he's got a completely new VR headset, and so he's kind of going outside his bounds here a little bit, and, you know, figuring out that maybe there's a few issues that he's trying to still work out with that new setup of his. And, you know, that would be such a heartbreaker for him if this happens to where he's leading this race and that's what takes him out of it, because he knows it's most likely going to take a win. But if he's leading, it's going to make that that problem sting that much more, I think. So the 7, definitely hoping that doesn't show back up here.
Hoping that it will just fade away. Speaking of fading away, Vincent Sora, he led the first 10 laps after being passed by Cedric Hunter. Started to just give up positions pretty easily. See if the 15 has any extra tires underneath them to pressure our leader right now. Also, watch out. It's going to be Justin Campbell, Nick Crawford, first drivers with 4 tires and fuel after this first caution of the day. Let's see, will it be new tires? Could it be old? Who's going to survive at the end of this stage as the Blackjack returns 175s back underway? Thomas Green didn't get the best launch on the outside. It's going to be seeing Vincent Sora and Cedric Hunter off the exit of turn 2 that are going to be 1-2.
Look at Vincent Sora, good run, almost gets to the inside of his teammate, Cedric Hunter, and he's going to look for that position down into 3, but Hunter going to run that middle groove. The 18 of Green up the track. The 7 almost going to be put in the middle here. He's going to have to cover off that 18 because that run's coming from the top side. And
there was almost trouble in the middle of the field, but that outside lane has got some speed, and Thomas Green wants to utilize it. Those with fresh rubber already have cracked the top 10 of Justin Campbell. Nick Crawford's just outside of the top 10, but Hunter defends for now. The double is going to be the 18 on the outside of Thomas Green, trying to mount the run off the exit of the corner as he's going to go for the deking crossover move, and Cedric Hunter blinking for a quick moment. The 7's back. That was a worrisome moment, but it gives the opening for Green to dive it down low, trying to go for the crossover move as they come climbing up the course. Caution flag is out, and it's Jared Talmadge involved.
Oh man, I think Green even got the lead in that position, but we'll see how bad Talmadge's damage is. He's into the outside wall here, and it looks like some pretty good left side damages. He's been planted up against the wall, and he's going to tow that truck. So this may ruin Jarrett Talmadge's chances to moving on to Homestead. But right here, let's get a look at this, Sam. What exactly happens? Remember, he is on the old tire still.
He just slowed down so much to give space, and Cody Reed, not expecting it, slams into the 10. Almost looked like a brake check move. In the 25, front end damage not required, but the 10 does have required damage.
That was very awkward. I don't know if this is a technical issue or something, because he just didn't even seem to get back ever to the gas. It just seemed like this truck had no power from the point he started to lift here. And oh, So the shift there, now he's going to go into the corner, but just never you see that RPM gauge just completely goes down. So I think he blew the motor.
It just was an odd, worse timing to have, and there was no visual signs that the motor was blown, and so no other driver knew that he was so underpaced. As we do a ride on with Cody Reed, I mean, we're on board with Jared Talmadge, and you're listening to where these drivers were running, and now on board with Cody Reed now, and you could just see he's seeing drivers get slow, and there's just no way to react, and just piles in, and Cody Reed's night just snowballs to get worse.
There's no way Reed could have told that. Like you said, Sam, usually when we see a lot of times these engine failures with a shifting failure like that, it usually gives a puff of smoke, or you get the smoke that continues out the back of the truck to kind of give a little bit of a warning there sign. But for Reed, I mean, he could not expect that. There is no way he could have reacted fast enough for that. Luckily, looking at his truck, somehow the front end is still somewhat decent. He's still sitting there, seems like getting some repair done. But I think he should be able to stay on this lead lap as this pace car is coming back around.
He's going to try his best to stay on the lead lap if possible, as he's leaving pit road now. His pace car is about to be at the pit exit. And this is that's got to be frustrating for the 25. Again, if anything, the timing of this yellow might assist him on the fact that he can get 4 fresh tires and see how much timing and space he can recover from this incident. But that front end damage is going to be critical here tonight, if it is damaged, as we would assume. But if he got lucked by the iRacing gods that it wasn't as critical of damage, Cody Reed could be saved here tonight if iRacing deems so.
Crazy scenes with Talmadge being out of this race. Also, that required damage for him. He is going to be pretty much out of it now, Sam. So this opens that door wide open for the likes of Justin Campbell, Nick Crawford. They're sitting there saying, man, this is best case scenario. We're on fresh tires. They made the way up to 8th and 9th. We'll get another restart here. Those two are going to be looking to gain massive points here early in this stage, and that could propel them possibly to be the drivers joining John Forbes. We'll just have to see who will be that other third one.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, John Forbes is the only driver that's officially locked in coming into tonight with his win last week at Legacy, Texas. Vincent Soar entered tonight with a 10-point advantage over Nick Crawford, who was tied with Justin Campbell. Both those drivers are tied for 4th and 5th in points. And then Cody Reed being in 6th and Cedric Hunter being outside. And it looks like we have lost Ryan Ferraro, so we only have 21 drivers take the green. And Samuel Garcia just blinked out. Troubles for himself, and Cedric Hunter now is just pulled to the side of the road. Multiple drivers having some finicky moments for themselves. Cedric Hunter luckily able to get rolling again. But we're still in the first stage. Stage yellow, in the end of the stage won't be at the end of lap 50. And Zach, we are already seeing critical issues popping up for these drivers.
Whew, this is making my nerves start to go a little bit, Sam. I don't know how these drivers are dealing with that right now inside the cockpit of these trucks, and it is ever changing right now. We really don't know what to expect. I mean, now Jared Talmadge out of this race. We know Christopher Norris, he had to miss tonight. This is putting it where 5 drivers now all sitting here trying to make it in. I mean, of course, Vincent Soar, he looks to be the most well off of the others when it comes to points, but the other 4 definitely all reeling here because anything can happen. We just seen, I mean, someone blows a motor in front of you that quickly, you could be running in the back of them, and next thing you know, you blow your motor. So it is still all on the line, and only 32 laps in, we've seen a lot of mistakes and issues.
Again, drivers with fresh rubber to watch out for. Justin Campbell in 7th place. Crawford going to be in 9th. But up front, it's Thomas Green, Cedric Hunter, Vincent Sora, and Ollie Fonseca going to be your top 4. As the end of the stage will be at the end of lap 50, unless we have a caution between lap 45 and 50. As the green flag is out, a little bit of a chain reaction through the field as a delayed start. But Thomas Green clear, and now it's the teammates side by side for 2nd place.
That it is. Cedric Hunter needs every point he can get. He's in a major points deficit compared to others, but this battle that's happening right behind him, John Forbes, he's already locked in. Ollie Fonseca fighting strong. And now the 2 of Danny Cochran fighting the new tires of Justin Campbell, who's trying to get those things fired up and go forward because he knows points here in this stage could be what propels him next week.
It is a massive position for himself, and right behind also this 9 machine is going to be the 74 of Nick Crawford. Crawford's trying to work that outside groove, and because they took their set of tires 13 laps ago, they can burn off as much as they want, and that 74 is going to be trying to use that outside lane as much as possible, but he always get blocked off this exit of the corners, the straightaways. There's just nowhere to go. Might have to force it 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide if you want to get risky, but Campbell touches the apron, and then John Forbes 3 wide. They weave it together. No! Campbell! John Forbes! And it's a huge calamity off of turn 2!
Oh, man, more playoff contenders involved. And Campbell right now with a good bit of front end damage there after that hit. I don't think there's nothing required, of course, there. But, man, that is going to set him back after looking to get maybe some stage points here.
I just don't think Ollie Fonseca knew they were 3 wide. There was no way to predict that, and Campbell just sent it into turn number 1. And Zach, this move could have been the race ender and championship putt contender taken out.
It very well could be, man. And look at this. Like you said, the 24, I just think doesn't know there are 3 there. And he's going to keep coming down, crowding the 11 into the 9. The 9 goes up into the outside wall, spins. There's Malik Kuntz. He's going to get the worst damage of anybody. That 98 completely ripped his nose off as it looks like it comes back to him. So maybe not as bad as what it first looked like, but looks like Tyler Dingler will even go around. So right there, it's just 3 into 2 lanes is not going to work.
Absolutely not. And Cody Reed luckily sneaks his way through that mess. As take another look, seeing drivers now entering pit road. A lot of drivers that were caught up in that mess, but also Thomas Green giving up the lead to enter pit road here, and we're still not at that window of our stage break. Again, our stage break could be at the end of the lap 50 for these drivers. And seeing some of those drivers that were up front giving up this track position, kind of wild in my eyes, but maybe they're feeling like you want to have the fresh rubber and have that slight advantage over the rest of the field.
Scratcher for sure, Sam. I mean, unless you're looking to maybe stay out at the stage break, that's the only thing I can think of. But Thomas Green, in a really good spot. They're leading this race. Going to give up that lead. And, I mean, if you're Vincent Sawyer and you're Cedric Hunter, you'll say, okay, thank you very much. I mean, now Nick Crawford, he's the next driver up with the fresh tires up to 5th. Canado will be only up to 7th. Reed's going to get up to 11th. So, really, I mean, with the amount of time we have left, I think us staying out there was a no-brainer there. But, again, Thomas Green not in the playoffs, so he's more thinking about, I think, race win than it comes to stage points.
As the fields waits for another restart here. Again, fresh rubber. Nick Crawford now will be that lead driver in 5th place. Then you got Joshua Kanata, who also came for tires. He'll restart in 7th. You have to follow it down to 12th place where Mark Morales lies, but a lot of those drivers have been caught up in wrecks, have gotten damage. So the getting tires now is more just trying to put yourself at equal footing or having just a minimal advantage over those that have yet to pit so far. But 38 laps in, and already the championship battle has been flipped upside down as 2 of the drivers entering tonight inside of our top 4 of our final 8 drivers caught up in messes. Misshift that blew the engine for Jared Talmadge, and now Justin Campbell just caught up in that mess, and Cody Reed has been caught up in 2 wrecks so far in 2 separate incidences. 25's got a long battle, but this certainly, seeing Campbell get his issue, this puts Cody Reed right back in the mix for a chance to steal those final spots if Cedric Hunter cannot find the win here tonight.
That's exactly right. If you're Cody Reed, this is all kind of came right back into your lap. So, I mean, it's been an up and down first 39 laps for him after that spin in qualifying. And I think if you were to told him the position he's in right now, he would be kind of surprised because, a lot of guys right there just unfortunately having major issues. Of course, Talmadge with the misshift going to blow up the motor, but Campbell there unfortunately going to get spun by the 11, who really none of John Forbes doing is just a 24 there, not knowing they're 3 wide. So it's one of those situations where if you're Cody Reed now, you got to take what has been given to you and hopefully run with it, because any stage points here you can get after the start of the nice race, I think he'll take with a smile on his face.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us here tonight. Again, the last race of the round of 8 to see who the final 4 drivers will be to race for a championship next week at Homestead for season 6 of the ISRC Layout Production Truck Series. Tonight's race going to be the Blackjacks returns 175 And we also want to say thank you to our sponsors of Layer Up Production, Hot Lap Threads, and Morecast. We'll talk about more of our amazing sponsors later on here tonight as we're on lap 40 of 175. We're going to be coming up to 10 laps to go before the stage yellow will be thrown at the end of lap 50. Top 10 drivers get bonus points as you got drivers that are in the hunt, some trying to stay in the hunt for a championship, others fighting for the best of the rest championship. But we get ready for that restart zone. You see the Geico restart zone, the field just entering turn number 3. And your front row going to be Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter. Row number 2 is going to be the Lariat Productions trucks of Ali Fonseca and Danny Cochran. And Nick Crawford, Fresh Rubber, back in 5th. They enter the Geico restart zone, and we are back to green flag action for the Blackjack returns 175. Vincent Sora going to be taking the lead down into turn number 1. It's side-by-side racing between the Layer Up Production trucks for that 3rd place position.
We'll see how good these new tires work for Nick Crawford, who right now is still back in 5th after trying to take a look on Fonseca on that restart, but Fonseca's going to cover it off. But the 74 going to have that 16, also Canada right behind him on fresh tires. So we'll see if the fresh tires can fire up. But I think with all these caution laps, it's kind of brought a little bit of life back to these older tires and cooled them down. But I think as the heat starts to build up, we'll see those fresh tires in the 74 starting to fire off, because right now he's going forward.
Yeah, Nick Crawford had to stop in the middle of last week's race at Legacy, Texas due to illness reasons. Was not feeling well enough to finish the race, but got as many points as he could before having to step away from the track. And now here tonight, had to go with an off-ball strategy. That's been kind of the winning strategy of the season to allow Nick Crawford to find himself with 6 wins this season and slotting his way in between the 2 and the 24 is Nick Crawford. Fresh Rubber trying to work that outside groove, but continues to be kind of locked off by the 2 of Danny Cochran. Other drivers on the hunt. Cody Reed just outside of the top 10. He needs to get into the top 10, get some bonus points. This will be crucial for the 25 to try to recover from a disastrous first 30 laps here tonight.
And he's got to do it quickly too, Sam. I think the big thing for him right now is if a caution comes out here in the next 2 laps, that'll be the end of the stage. So you got to get any position you can here quickly. And right now, trying to work around Justin Smith to get in that 10th position, that would pay 1 point. But then he'll see Martin Morales in the 91. He might close the door, but looks like he'll open it back up.
Opens it back up with that 18 machine, the Good Ranch Grade. That is Thomas Green. Green has the freshest tires of any driver out on track. The 18 is trying to play a little nice, but also recognizing that he's running for a chance to get the best of the rest championship, as he would like some stage bonus points, as he's having a championship hunt with Tyler Dangler for that 17th in points. But Cody Reed boxed out, nowhere to go. He has to stay behind Sam Garcia in the 50.
Like you said, boxed in a little bit here. He's going to get a little bit loose. That's going to open the door. Here comes the 18 Thomas Green to the inside. And if Green gets that positioning on him, looks like he'll hold the spot for now. But if he gets that positioning on him, that would take the point away, because this is for 10th. But if you're Reed, you can't look behind you. You got to look forward here. But he's a little bit boxed in.
Boxed in, almost some contact to the 50. He'll go for the slide job move on Martin Morales. They'll stay side by side. Again, that's the battle for 8th place position. Battling also in front of these drivers is the battle happening for 3rd. Nick Crawford trying to grab every position possible. He was tied with Justin Campbell for 4th place in points. With Campbell having his issues, the 75 would love to take every spot possible as they go 3 wide, battling for this 9th place position. And as well up front for 3rd, they were almost 3 wide for a moment.
That they were. Nick Crawford trying to work his way around, but the caution's going to come out.
It's Garcia spinning around. Huge contact for the 50 machine. And as well, going to be Ethan Smith having his issues. Oh, and the 0-0 of Ethan Smith we really haven't talked about at all here tonight. He gets a big slam into the inside wall, and same for Samuel Garcia. And a bizarre moment for the both of them. As we're seeing the field, some gonna have to go into pit road, but this is gonna be a huge netcode wreck. There was spacing, but iRacing team, they had contact.
Oh man, Sam, this is going to be tough for these guys. You're going to see their hard racing that was going down here. Green looking to the inside here, and it looks like maybe going to come together here as you see Ethan Smith with such a big run from that top side. I think you might see this issue down here into the middle of 1 and 2. And off the exit of 2 right here, just going to clip that 50, and that is just unfortunately 2 drivers going for the same spot on the track.
Yeah, that scene didn't really show it. If you go from a blimp cam, there was about a foot gap distance between the two drivers, but that is required damage for the 50 machine of Garcia. And also report Jared Talmadge officially has left the server. The 10's hopes for making the final four for the first time is now snuffed out. He will not be running for a championship here in season 6. The Cinderella story has been snuffed out, and the clock has hit midnight.
Such a tough scene there, Sam. That's a heartbreaker for him, who was having such a good run tonight, right there on the edge of the top 10, and we'll see how it shakes out. But right here, look at this. It looks like we're gonna have these drivers stay out here, Sam, as Reed's gonna take that lead with Thomas Green, as they've already made their pit stop. But I believe Reed, with that finish of the stage there, is gonna finish ninth, so he's gonna take home 2 points with him.
Yeah, it's going to be some massive points for the 25 machine. Again, stage points were gifted out at the time of the yellow flag. So drivers will not be getting those that are crossing the line now are not getting those bonus points. Our stage winner, though, of forecast going to be Vince Sora in the 15 machine, who will be all the way back in 4th position for himself, as Vincent Sora in the field getting ready to take off here. I know Vinny has got to be happy with the way that he's running here tonight and hoping to continue on with the great runs this season. We'll see if we can bring up the 15 machine of Vincent Sora as we're waiting for those lights to click off, as he had a fabulous start to these first 50 laps. Vinny, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I hear you guys.
Well, Morecast stage winner for yourself. How is this truck feeling on this Iowa course?
The truck feels really good. I didn't have a lot of confidence coming into tonight, but I think I figured something out in practice. I ran a couple long runs with Danny, and the truck felt really good. And I just know I need to be patient and smart. Those stage points are really big, and a couple of guys gotten some wrecks there, so that's definitely going to help me out. But yeah, I think my truck was really coming alive there if we would have had a full run to the stage.
Definitely a great run there for you, Vinny, and like you said, let it kind of come to you. What do you think is going to be the most important part here as the night heads on? Do you think, with the possibility of these cautions maybe cleaning up, do you think the long run is going to be super critical for someone to do such as you did?
Yeah, I think the long run is going to be really important. I think with the track temp cooling, it's going to push a lot tighter now. It was a little bit pushed into the loose side there earlier when the sun was still out, but I bet it'll get really tight and be really hard to pass. So I think track position is probably going to be the biggest factor in the winner of this race.
Well, Vinny, we'll send you back to your team, but good luck for the rest of the night.
Thanks, guys.
That will be your Morecast stage winner here tonight of Vincent Sora. He'll restart in 4th. Top 3 drivers did not pit at our stage break. As the field, so we take a look at how this track is trying to cool off. Track temps cooled off 1 degree down to 81 degrees for the track temp. Air temperature still the same at 78. But Zach, we're waiting to see how this race is going to continue on. But a wild first stage for the field. Now there's no more stage racing. It's all about getting the win from this point on.
That's exactly right, Sam. Now it's everybody's saying, will we see the cautions again, or will we get a longer run? It's kind of one of those situations where you got to push and do what you think is going to happen, but you can always get it wrong. Instead of saying, you heard from Vincent Sora, he feels like you're going to need to save a little bit for that long run. So it's going to be interesting to see with Reed and Green out front here on the older tires along with Kralik, how well they're able to hold off these fresh tires from that stage.
For those that might be wondering, what do the points look like now? We will try to give you an update once we are concluded with our first commercial break of the evening, which will be in just a few more laps. But until then, it's time to see some great racing action. Pace car pulls off, and we are back to green flag coverage of the Blackjack returns 175, and it's a former Blackjack driver leading the way, Cody Reed, down into turn number 1.
Great start from Reed there as he's able to get a little bit of a gap, and now Kralik washing up the track almost up into the 15 of Vincent Sora, but here comes Nick Crawford. He got great stage points there in that last run. Now it's going to be 3 wide. Cochran getting shoved up the track from this 01 on the older tires.
Trying to hold steady, but it's going to be 3 wide. Nick Crawford with a big wiggle. Same for Kralik. They keep it together. Thomas Green now going to be shooting to the inside for the lead position. And now seeing how well can the 74 hold steady, because that was a massive wiggle that he holds on, but all the lost track position. It's now going to be a spin in the back. Oh, Jesse Thornock going around, but we stay green as he's off the racing surface.
Yeah, like you said, off the racing surface, nobody coming around here. We're going to stay green, and that's going to lose him a ton of time here when it comes to the drivers around him. But right now, that battle for lead still on green. Was able to get the lead last at the start-finish line, but Reed has been fighting hard on the outside, and it's allowed Vincent Soar now to get up the third. And this 15, I think, is going to be licking his chops seeing him side by side.
Loving the fact that he's up front, having a strong run right now is Cody Reed, even with the slight mistakes that have gone around in those first 30 laps. He is trying to recover, trying to fight, even with old tires. 21 lap old tires, but Cedric Hunter, where is he going? He's on the apron. The 7, trouble. He's faltering back. Danny Cochran with big wiggle. Only 3 wide down into turn number 3.
I think that right there is going to be Cedric Hunter with issues to his VR, so it looks like that has showed up once again, and that is going to be worst case scenario for him. I think once he saw it happen, Sam, he said, I got to get off the track, get away from everybody.
He's still trying to get that vehicle rolling, and finally will, as Anthony Gaudio in the 3 machine. It's been a while since we've seen strength like this. The 3 musters his way into 6th position, as now it's Danny Cochran, Eric Kralik, Joshua Kanata, 3 wide, exiting out of the corner as the 16 almost comes down to squeeze. They keep together as this is the battle for 7th place.
Great battle right here, and definitely not much room on the track. You see the 2 there a little bit loose, almost up into the 01, and that's what's tough I've seen tonight. You get to the bottom of somebody, you might be a little bit quicker, but it's tough to complete that pass with how loose it is, but Forbes goes down low.
John Forbes putting the issue, putting the squeeze, and the spin out of Mark Morales as the 91 was not expecting that late dive from the 11. And it's just an odd situation with the one driver that lucks out. The 7 is Cedric Hunter. He got back rolling and will get the lucky dog with this caution.
That he will. That's going to help him a ton. And we'll see here. John Ford's big run off of 2. He's going to make the look to the inside. And I don't know if there's net code or something, but I think the 91 either gets net coded or a little bit spooked from that 11, making the dive up the inside. And GT, I don't think, is expecting it to be 3 wide there either. He kind of comes down on the 91. Morales really the odd man out there in that situation. So, you know, a big risky maneuver from John Forbes here, pretty far back in the field. But not surprised, that 11 likes to make some pretty big moves.
Oh, when there is momentum, John Forbes is going to use it, as you saw the run out at turn number 2, down into turn number 3, and I think there might have been some slight contact around, but ultimately it's Mark Morales spinning around. No one else makes contact, no one hits the wall, and just wipe that away and get ready for this next restart. And with it being such a quick, clean wreck that just happened, and the fields, half the field deciding to stay out, majority of the field, I should say, staying out, a couple of drivers into pit road, we will take our first commercial break of the evening. Let's try to figure out the points after the stage has concluded. We'll see what the points look a little bit closer as the ISRC Lara Productions Season 6 playoff picture about to be seen a little bit clearer after we come back here tonight to Iowa. We'll be back right after this.
5 wide behind the pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. Look at it. That's it.
It's bottom line, here it comes. Oh no, Carter gets wrecked. It's gonna be that Nick Crawford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Turning, driving down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes, Cedric Hunter. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck it.
Oh, they wrecked! They wrecked each other. The top two bounced into one another. Just too much of side drifting off of, and they got to be careful. Oh no! The 4 demolishes in the 28. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from our first commercial break of the night on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall up in the booth. Running production, as always, is Robert Moyer Jr. Right now, it is all Thomas Green up front, but the racing action from 5th on back is getting a little bit hectic. Cody Reed's got a mess behind him, and this is playoff racing action. 4 drivers have already called it an evening. 5 were supposed to take the green, but we are missing Ryan Ferraro that did not take the green. But this mess of playoff and non-playoff drivers is giving some a heartbreak, some a heart attack getting ready to happen, as it is a mess out on course. Zach, probably the most chaotic first 60 laps you could have asked for, but it does not look to be over yet here in Iowa.
There must be a full moon in Iowa right now, because everybody is going for every little bit. Look at John Forbes. He's going down up inside his Gaudio, going to make a 4 here off of turn number 4. That's not going to work. Reed luckily squeezes through. That could have been dire for the 24.
No one wants to give an inch, and they're recognizing you got to take every position now. And Cody Reed, on some of the oldest tires out on track, is trying his best just to keep the track position, but it gets bumped by Gaudio. He holds strong, but for Cody Reed, he's just in a losing battle. He's gonna go backwards. The question is, when will the caution come out, and will he be involved in another one? It will be key contact. Gaudio, huge wreck with gonna be the 3, the 14, and others.
Oh man, and I tell you what, Reed is lucky, because you know, sometimes we see this this play out in iRacing a little bit, where the car that, you know, gets spun around is usually not the one that you would think gets spun around. You would think with what we get to see here, the 3 here, he's going to be in the middle. He's going to push a little bit tight there with that 2 coming up, and he's going to wash up into the quarter pound on the 25. But luckily for Reed's sake, it kind of net codes the 3 down, spins him down below him, and Reed continues on while the others behind him are going to be involved in this. That could have been so bad for the 25 right there.
In GT Arizari, the 14, black and orange, innocent victim, required damage. The 14 forced to pit road. Gaudio's machine does not look like it's in a nice place. Like I was saying before, having one of his better runs of the season and throw it all away in one incident. And what's surprising, I mean, Zach, this is one of the smallest fields that we've had all season long. But this is probably some of the most aggressive racing we've seen all season.
It really is. It's been very interesting to see. I think also with this, we should see Justin Campbell possibly get back on the lead lap, so he should be getting the lucky dog here. He's going to pull to the outside of everybody here when they get to the line. But yeah, some of the most aggressive, weird racing we've seen all season. It doesn't surprise me, you know, on a smaller field side of things here. These guys are all going for it. Everybody here tonight has a purpose and has something they want to do. Either they're going for the win or they're going to try to make the Final Four. So that's pretty much everybody's mindset, and it seems like that mindset has got a few of them in trouble.
It certainly does look like we're getting a few of these drivers in a mental troublesome spot for themselves, but crazy night. Talked about how we were going to try to give you a better idea of what the point scenario was after a commercial break. Well, here's how the points look so far. We've got ourselves, again, 7 drivers entered tonight with the chance to make the Final Four. 1 was already locked in, being John Forbes with his win. Our 8th driver in the round of 8, Cody, going to be Christopher Norris. He found himself being out of this race because he's on vacation and racing here tonight. But there were then 6 hunting for just 3 spots. Vincent Sora with his stage win looks pretty comfortable as long as he just doesn't get wrecked out. The 15 should be moving on to the final 4 and run for a chance for a championship. Then there's the spot of the final 2 spots. It's a little bit closer. One window that looks a little bit more open. Cedric Hunter, practically in a must-win scenario. We have lost a lot of drivers due to them disconnecting or having so much damage that they've just called it a night. So now it's put the 7 in a spot where he must win, but with all of his VR issues, it is looking highly improbable that Cedric Hunter is going to do so, which then leaves us with just 4 drivers, 4 positions. But Jared Talmadge, who is 3rd in points coming into tonight, he has a blown engine, so that could knock the 10 out of the playoff picture. And Justin Campbell, who's been having issues, he's back on the lead lap. He still has a chance, but Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, even with all of Cody Reed's mistakes and mishaps, the 25 is still in the hunt for a chance here tonight to make the final 4.
Wild scenes. I tell you, if you told a few of these drivers what the story would be through the first 75 laps of the race, they would say, well, I'm probably not going to be moving on to the next round. But there's definitely a case where we can see both the 25 and the 9 moving on. I mean, even the 7 still has the shot. You know, he's got a winner's chance, so to say. But with the issues he's having, it's very likely we'll probably see that happen as he's been having those intermittent disconnects with his VR system, which is not a good thing to see for him. But I look at this, and someone like Nick Crawford, who's had a very quiet night, he's looking to quietly get his way into the round of 4, while you got Reed and Campbell, who have had such an up and down night. They're just trying anything to survive to get to the end of this thing, to get in there.
Yeah, and the way that this is running, I mean, it's looking like for Campbell and for Reed, they are close in points. There is a 1-point difference if you account for laps that have already been led and that bonus point, and where stage bonus points were. Justin Campbell has a 1-point advantage over Cody Reed. Campbell has not led a lap yet, so if the 9 can somehow lead a lap, that's 1 bonus point that can now exceed 2 points being the difference. But for Cody Reed and Justin Campbell, it is going to be very close between those 2 drivers, as they're just 4 positions off one another, even right now with the way they run.
That is, I mean, it's going to be that way for, I think, a long time tonight. It's just different sequences here, especially when it comes to strategies for those 2. Going to make an interesting battle between them, but it's going to be coming down all the way to the checker flag, in my opinion. So we'll see who can get it done. But right now, Green leading the way, Fonseca up front, 2 non-playoff guys. Let's see what they can do.
Thomas Green wants to get back into that win column. He was doing so back in season 2 and 3. He found himself in a victory lane here at Iowa. Ali Fonseca also hoping to have some redemption, but as the green flag is out, it's all the outside lane taken off, and Vincent Sora seems to be the driver that will take that huge advantage from 3rd up to 2nd, and the 15 is fully clear and moving forward.
Great jump there from Vincent Sora up to that 2nd spot. We'll see if he can track down that leader, Thomas Green. It's everybody from 3rd on back. Looks like Crawford there. Fonseca now in the middle of the Forbes and Kanata battle off of 4. And Cochran, I think, had a chance there to maybe make it 4 wide. He decides better. He's just going to follow this group. But, man, oh, man, this is definitely showing, again, Iowa is a racy track, and right now everybody's got a handful. It turns into some incidents.
They are trying to keep it all together. John Forbes trying to find his opening to get by these lap drivers of Danny Cochran and Ali Fonseca. Lap as in Larry Art Productions, and the 2 and the 24 can't get away from one another, and it's kind of confusing at times with how close those schemes are. Trying not to miscall which one is which until we can see the side of those numbers. But one driver that's feeling good and comfortable, that's Thomas Green up front, almost a half a second of a gap over Vincent Sora, even with having almost a 15-lap difference in tires. Got to give credit to that 18 machine. Right on board with Cedric Hunter, again, the 7 that qualified so well and had such a strong run, led a couple of laps in his first 20 laps of this race, but VR issues have pushed the 7 out of contention, had to go a lap down to fix some issues, and now back out on track, just crossing his fingers and hoping that his iRacing doesn't crash on him.
That is going to be such a scary feeling to have, especially when you're racing around people for positioning for that 7, and it can all go quickly, all black in one incident, and you never know, you could be taking someone else out. So I think that's another thing he's concerned with, because he doesn't want to ruin anybody else's race, but he's also got to win the race. So it's put him in pretty much a scenario where it is tough to be in. And right now, in that 11th spot, it's not going to get it done. But gets the likes of Cody Reed up to 8th. He's done a good job on this restart to kind of rebound himself back forward, and he's on the back bumper of the 24 Fonseca. So great job here by Cody Reed, and he's really starting to make headway with the fresher tires.
Yeah, having the freshest of tires of anyone on track and using the second set of 4 that he has in pit road to work with. So he's got a lot of spacing to work with. But speaking about spacing, John Forbes, Danny Cochran in front of the 24 and 25. They were not getting a lot of space for one another off the exit of the corner. It just seems like, especially watching the likes of the 11 John Forbes, he is shipping it into these corners, and this is giving me a little bit of deja vu back to a very different track, but the style of racing is very similar, and that's New Hampshire, of the way that these drivers are just sending it into corners and hoping that these trucks just stick to the bottom.
It definitely seems that way for a few out there. Look at Reed. I mean, big dive to the inside of the 24. It's going to push that truck up the track. Fonseca's going to be on the door, and look, it's going to bounce the 25 down.
Cody Reed, though, he's going to be able to keep it off the wall. He's going to be drifting back up onto the track surface, and he's got a couple of seconds trying to calm these nerves, settle back in, and it looked like another netco just body slam that shipped the driver that was on the inside for the spin. We've seen that now 3 or 4 times here tonight. The driver on the inside is the one who's going to be unlucky if there's any contact made.
You're exactly right, Sam, and that is completely backwards than what you would think. You would think the driver on the outside would be the one kind of getting used up, so to say, but it's been that netco bounce off of that people have had on the inside, and it's just shot them down, either spun them out, and Reed there, the first one really not to get spun out. He did a great job of just saving that half spin, keeping his truck together, but definitely probably lit those tires up a good bit. He'll let them cool back down with those fresher set he has and see if he can run back down this group. But this grouping here has been wild, as you see Forbes again. Major dive into the corner, but it's just not going to have the exit speed when you dive in that fast.
Major dive, but if there's one driver that you could trust that he's going to make the dive stick, it's John Forbes. He's done it so many times this season where it kind of feels nerve-wracking with the way he just sends that truck into these corners. And if it was anyone else, I would say they're going in there to take out another driver. But somehow the 11 always finds the grip in the center of the corner to stick on that yellow line. We're seeing Danny Cochran put pressure on Joshua Kanata, and the drivers that are notoriously known for practicing with one another throughout the week, or at least preparing before the race session pops up. It's the 16, 2, 25, the 11. A lot of friends in this league that have grown to get a lot faster together, now showing out why they're so fast instead of a top 5 being Kanata and Danny Cochran.
Yeah, they are. It's definitely a lot of information trading, a lot of practicing going on, and you learn people's tendencies, and that's why they can race around each other this hard here. They can really, so to say, know exactly what the driver ahead of them is going to do. So it's put on a great show, but something that has closed down is that battle for the lead. Vincent Sora been quicker than Thomas Green the last few laps by, and he started to close up to the back of that 18, so the 15. He doesn't need a win, but he wants to go out there and get the momentum heading into Homestead.
Absolutely would love to have a win and have that momentum, but like you said, a win here tonight locks you into the Final 4, but going into next week, the points don't matter. It's all about whoever finishes highest of the Final 4. You want all that momentum if possible, as we're watching again the battling going on for 4th place, but for the lead, it is now down to a 10th. It's now side by side into turn number 1, and Vincent Sora trying to go for the pass for the lead position. The 15 looking strong, and they'll stay side by side with Thomas Green. Green keeps the nose ahead, but here we go. Slide job move, keeping it side by side. Thomas Green does not want to give a full car length ahead of the 15. He's trying to keep it close, and across the line, it was down to the 1,000th of a second between who led that lap.
That was crazy. That could be setting up to what we see near the end of this race, because this is one thing I've seen. You might be quicker than the driver ahead of you, but you get to the bottom of them and you just can't make that same time. You don't have the ability to open up that wheel on the exit, carry that speed, and that's why the high lines at Iowa work so good. That progressive banking as you go up the track, you can just get such a good run down these straightaways. And Vince Sora, he's got to reformulate something here, because he knows that's not going to work on the bottom. I got to be able to make sure I clear when I get to this 18.
That middle lane is going to be so crucial for these drivers, as, again, this battle for the win, you thought maybe it was going to be Thomas Green, maybe Vincent Sora, maybe he'll be the driver in 3rd. Nick Crawford is starting to make a little bit of a sneaky crawl up and catching up to these front 2, and has been the fastest driver on track is the 74 with the battling for the lead. And Crawford is just inching closer and closer, but Zach touching on the new update. This 74 is about to be getting into some major aero blocking here shortly.
That he is. That's one thing that a lot of people talked about is you really need in these trucks, especially now very similar to what we see in the next gen car, you need this left side of your truck sticking out, at least getting some air on that left side of the nose to give you that front turn. If you run directly in the tracks of the truck in front of you from entry, center to exit, you're just not going to have the speed to pass them. So you got to really find ways to enter the corner shallower, enter the corners wider to find any little bit of air on the nose. And like you said, as he's gotten closer, those lap times have seemed to dwindle down just a little bit. But Nick Crawford, we know how he does. He is such a good driver at almost playing possum. He just almost seems like he's just back there riding, and then all of a sudden he finds the speed quick into a run, and he kind of lets those drivers in front of him race each other and use their stuff up.
Settle in, get into a good position, and try to pound if possible. Other drivers are trying to pounce. Riding in 8th place, Cody Reed. He's trying to figure out how to pounce and get ahead of Valde Fonseca. Some of the freshest tires is the 25, and you can see that left side damage. That's from earlier in this race, around lap 25 to 30. We saw Cody's night kind of turn upside down. He got caught up in a mess of someone else's wreck. Then he got pushed into colliding into the mischief driver of Jared Tallman-Jablou's engine. And ever since then, Cody Reed has been trying to set up a rebound to try to push forward. And as he's trying to set up for a pass here, also for the lead, it looks like Vincent Sora attempting once again for the lead position.
He is. He just seems like he's quicker than that 18, but just hasn't been able to get it done. Again, side by side for that lead position up front. And Vincent Sora just trying every little thing to find that grip to get around Thomas Green, but he just hasn't been able to do it yet. And they'll continue side by side as we check out the 25 Cody Reed.
Trying to find that opening if possible for Cody Reed as other drivers deeper in the field. Yeah, going to be Campbell as well as Justin Smith. Campbell finally able to get by the 6 machine, but you can also see that right side damage and left side damage the 9 is dealing with as Justin Campbell being squeezed in that wreck with John Forbes and others really didn't help out his championship hopes, but every position which could be so crucial for Campbell, he's got to catch up to Cody Reed. You're also seeing the battling even further back for 14th as the pass for the lead has been made and Vincent Sora finally clear and going to be over 3/10 ahead of Thomas Green in a blink of an eye.
What a job it was too. He barely cleared him off of 4, got the job done, then Green crossed back over to the inside and just did not get the pass back to the inside. Once Sora had cleared, he knew he had to get to that outside line and give up that bottom. And now, like you said, it's opened up about a 0.3 of a second gap. I think this 15, we might see him with that clean air be able to extend this gap even farther.
Now, these next 2 laps could be so important to see what speed Nick Crawford has compared to Vincent Sora, if the 74 even has any speed that he can try to catch up, and if he even has the speed to pass Thomas Green at this moment, as we are officially done with over 100 laps, and we are setting sail into the final 74 laps here tonight. Plenty of still great racing action here this evening, and also pit stops. Who will be the first to enter pit road? Be a big question for the field as we will take our second commercial break of the night. When we come back, we'll have a clear picture of who's where in points, where do you need to settle in, and as well, going to figure out who might be the main driver to watch out for. Who's got the strategy call for the win? We'll find out right after this as you are watching the ISRC Larry Productions Truck Series Playoff Racing action. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night, giving you coverage of the ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up at the booth is Zach Hall. We also have Robert Moyer Jr. back in productions. Currently, Vincent Sora is your leader over Thomas Green that you see on screen, as well as seeing a few other drivers trying to pick and choose where the best battles could be. There's a few pods going on. Here's one of them of John Forbes and Danny Cochran get a little bit mixy with older tires between the two as the field inching closer and closer to pit stops. Speaking of pit stops, one of those entering pit roads, the 7 is Cedric Hunter, will be one of the first drivers to make their stop. But the true question has to be, is this a scheduled stop or is this a waving of the flag? The 7 machine's been having some major iRacing and VR issues here tonight. We'll see if he gets 4 tires and fuel, gets back out there, or if he's going to call it an evening. I know it's been a tough one, Zach, for the 7. There's been a couple of others, but Cedric Hunter, he is in a must-win scenario to win. This certainly is a gamble to hit this early.
It really is, because I was starting to look at things. They're not going to be able to make it, of course, when it comes to fuel. Everybody still needs to make one pit stop. So it does like Cedric Hunter is continuing on when he comes out of his stall, and he'll make the early gamble call like that. I think that was his only chance. Looks like more drivers will come down. Justin Smith, Ali Fonseca. So more drivers starting to come down, feeling like this could be their last stop of the race here if this continues green. But you take a big risk by undercutting here at Iowa. You're going to lose up to a lap and a half, almost 2 laps here. So you're going to have to hope this cycles through, because you can quickly get caught out if a yellow happens.
Certainly can. Ali Fonseca, you see on screen, in the 24 going to be making a pit stop. Same for the 6 of Justin Smith, going to be making a stop so far. The battling continues on with John Forbes and Danny Cochran as they've been out of sorts. Same for Joshua Canada getting into the mix. A lot of wiggling on those rear ends off the exit of the corner as Cedric Hunter puts down the fastest lap of the day. John Forbes going to be entering pit road, but Canada and Danny Cochran giving us a show as we're riding on board with the 16.
That was wild there. As you can see, they're working the wheel. These trucks are on the free side, and everybody having to really work their trucks. And right here, as I say that, it's going to be the 15 of Vincent Sora down the pit road. Same for the 2 of Danny Cochran. His teammate is following him. So Canada now going to shove himself up to 3rd, Green to the lead, and Nick Crawford holds 2nd.
Nick Crawford most likely going to be wanting to stay on as long as possible. To lead a lap is the 74. They'll love to get that type of advantage over the rest of his competition, just in case a mistake pops up. As Joshua Canada, we rode on board for a quick second, he is still working the wheel, trying to counter steer his way to get that 16-pointed straight, but you're going to run out of real estate with how much he's counter steering right now. But the 16 tries to hold on. The rest of the field as well, getting ready for those pit stops, as another driver that has made a stop, going to be leaving his pit stall here shortly, is Justin Campbell, also joining with the likes of Danny Cochran and Vincent Sora. As Thomas Green and others still out on track. Cody Reed going to be the next to enter pit road. But again, this is one of those scary positions of fresh tires versus old. The closing rate, Zach, a lot of these drivers, we have not seen this dramatic of a difference in tires at all here tonight.
That's exactly right, Sam. We have not seen this big of a difference, and those closing rates can be quite dramatic. And you're seeing it. I mean, Vince Sora, he passed Morales a corner ago. He's almost already a full corner ahead of him. So the speeds are definitely picking up when you're here, and we'll see. These early stops, it could be interesting to see with Green, Crawford, and Canada electing to stretch this out a little farther. How is this going to work out compared to this 15 of Vincent Sora? Because it looks like the 74, the 18 continue on once again.
I'm curious on your thoughts on this, Zach. A lot of these drivers are still out on track. For the likes of Thomas Green, he just finally being over a second slower than his best times that he's ran all race. And he's 87 laps on these tires. Just announcing that he's going to be entering pit road is the 18. But it's kind of shocking to see that there isn't as big of a difference on the tire wear. I think for those that are staying out longer, this could be a huge advantage for themselves, for the likes of Nick Crawford and others.
It really could, and Nick Crawford are going to get that lap lead. Like you said, that's valuable for that 74 crew there to take. But, yeah, it's crazy because you see how big of slides and how much these guys are having to work the wheel. these trucks are on edge, but they're not losing that much lap time. And it looks like Crawford continuing on again. So he's electing to do the overcut, and he's going to try to utilize this. We'll see how this works, but it looks like right now where Green's going to come out, he's going to come out a well bit behind Vincent Sora, but we'll see how much those tires will work, because we got to remember, Green had older tires than the 15, then the 74. He held on very well. If he's got these fresher tires than Vincent Sora, he has an opportunity. But look at this, the stack up with the 7 of Cedric Hunter getting pinched by the 11 behind the old tires of Malik Kuntz. Now they're going to race side by side to 3 and 4.
Former allies, now enemies. Going to be seen Cedric Hunter trying to keep that outside position, even with the pick of the lap car. John Forbes not able to fully commit on the pass. He'll go for the slide job move over the 7, and Cedric Hunter gifting that position away, saying, all right, I'll give it up for now. We'll see if there's any comeback, as the tire difference 4 laps between the 11 and the 7. It was good effort by Cedric, but ultimately he had to give up that spot.
Yeah, exactly like you said. I think it was a good effort, but at some point that 11 was going to go past with just that little bit fresher tires. So you're Cedric Hunter here. You just got to kind of hold on, hope this cycles through, maybe catch some type of yellow, and hope your track position is better than what it was before. He went with the early gamble of the first driver to pit. We'll see how well that plays for him with his issues he's had tonight with that VR.
Still 6 drivers needing to pit so far here tonight before this race is over, being Nick Crawford, our leader, Joshua Kanata, Malik Kuntz, 3rd, 4th being Tyler Daimler, Mark Morales Jr. in 5th, and 6th place runner being Aaron Rollick. Vincent Sora, crazy enough, made his pit stop. He's flying out on track, but yet to unlap himself even at this point. Still trying to do so as Cedric Hunter issues strike the 7 again. He has had to pull it on almost into the pit entry, and the 7's night and a chance for a championship with that one move could be over. He's backing up with oncoming traffic. Luckily stays on the apron, and we'll get back out on course. But Cedric Hunter now going to be going 1 lap down, now going to be 2, as he will now be officially 1 lap down once the pit cycle's over, and that could have been the final snuff of the 7's chances to fight for a championship.
You're exactly right. I think that is going to be it for Cedric Hunter when it comes to his opportunities. But the big thing that he's got to be breathing a sigh of relief is that he didn't affect the race. He did not probably want to bring out a yellow, because if you're Vincent Sora, you're a lap down still. If your teammate would have brought that yellow out, that would have definitely been a big moment for you. Same for the likes of everybody who pit. Nick Crawford would have been smiling for sure ear to ear, but this is definitely good to see that yellow flag did come out to upset this pit sequence, because that could have had a huge problem for everybody.
Very much so, as Nick Crawford as well is going to be trying to get by GT Rosari very slow, as Vincent Sora has been notified to go low to get by the leader. They'll go 3 wide for a quick moment, as Vincent Sora finally back on the lead lap. Cedric Hunter trying to get at least 1 of his 2 laps back if possible. Driver hitting pit road going to be Joshua Kanata, as Vincent Sora is expected to now move into 5th place with the 16 entering pit road. And with all these laps ticking away, we're about to be 40 laps to go in tonight's race. I want to say thank you to our sponsors before the night is over. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to our title sponsor of the ISRC Truck Series for the last couple of seasons. It's Larry Art Productions. Go on over to Instagram or on YouTube, type in Larry Art Productions to find your great entertainment for today. Variety YouTube channel that gives you great comedy, reviews, and more. Go check out Larry Art Productions today for getting your great laughs for yourself. Also want to say thank you to Hot Lap Threads. Hot Lap Threads is our qualifying grid sponsor. Racing lifestyle, tees, hoodies, t-shirts, hats, and more. Head on over to Hot Lap Threads. They offer great lifestyle apparel for the perfect racing day. Fuel up your passion for racing and for your racing with apparel that's just as slick as the cars on track. Go to hotlapthreads.com. Check out their wide range selection today. And finally, I want to say thank you to our stage winner sponsor, being Morecast. Head on over to Morecast on Instagram and on YouTube and watch the great action of diecast conversations, memes, iRacing, and also NASCAR discussions. Go check out Morecast again on Instagram and YouTube. as once again, thank you so much to our amazing sponsors that helped out throughout the season. We have tonight's race, then next week we crown a champion for season 6. Zach, it's been an incredible season so far as we still wait for Nick Crawford and the rest of our top 5 to pit. This is now getting into that weird territory of, are you running it dry or are you looking for a caution to come out?
This is definitely getting in that territory of, when will Nick Crawford pit? Because, if he waits a little bit too long here, he's not going to have a lot of time to make up ground. And it's really where I'm starting to get concerned for this 74 is here it comes by to complete lap 138 there. We're soon going to be almost 30 to go here. So it is getting down the crunch time, so to say. And this is a short track. Laps click away quickly. And, if you're at 74, yeah, you came in with a nice little bubble, of course, with those stage points. But if you finish way behind, the likes of Campbell or Reed, this could be dire. But luckily for his sake, both those drivers back in 11th and 12th. We'll see how this works out. Crawford, always known to pull the different types of strategy. Could that be his downfall tonight, though?
The thing for Nick Crawford is even with this strategy call of staying out as long as he has, if he's the lead driver of all those that pit, he would still have enough points if he finds himself in an issue to move on to the next round. He's got a 9-point buffer over Justin Campbell, and as well has himself a 10-point buffer over Cody Reed after adding in the leading lap bonus point and stage bonus points. That is not adding to the most laps led, nor are we adding in the 0 incident point bonus point for drivers. So for Nick Crawford, biggest thing, make sure you're at least 9 positions ahead of Cody Reed, or if you're 9 positions back, you're okay. And if you're also just a mere 5 to 9 positions back from Justin Campbell, also in the good from the 9 machine, and both drivers running in 9th and 11th and 12th. You're still be good if Nick Crawford, even if you wreck out now, you would still be ahead of those drivers and move on to the next round.
That has got to be, kind of one of the only reasons he's looking to do this. I mean, he's got to feel a little bit better, and we know Reed and Campbell are definitely not getting that 1 bonus point for the incident, as they've been involved in a few spots. Unsure if the 74 wheel, we saw him make some contact with other drivers earlier, but that could, of course, been a 0x. That doesn't count towards those incident points. So we'll see how long Nick Crawford waits, but he is definitely playing the long game, so to say, as we've still got those front 4 yet to pit. I believe also Martin Morales isn't either, so 5 drivers still yet to cover pit road.
Zach, I'm curious on your thoughts on this call. I'm really looking at some of the drivers' pit strategy moves that they made. And again, we are looking at the battle for those that will most likely take the final spot of our final 4. Nick Crawford's pretty solid to take the 3rd spot, with Vincent Sora also looking good in points. John Force being automatically locked in. It's really the battle between Cody Reed and Justin Campbell on who's going to take that final spot in the points. Cody Reed decided to take just 2 tires when he went into pit road on what potentially is his final stop, and he pitted 22 laps ago. That is a huge gamble for the 25. It helped him catch up to Justin Campbell, but I think ultimately in the long run, he's going to be losing too much time.
I agree. Yeah, and even the lap times show it. He is not quicker than Campbell, and Campbell's just gapping him. So Reed with an interesting call there to go with 2 tires and see if that was going to help him out, but just seems like he's going to need the help of some type of yellow. And while this has all been happening, Nick Crawford has hit pit road. He's still sitting in his box right now. He's actually going to get passed by Campbell along with Kanata and along with Cody Reed. Like Justin Smith is, it looks like he'll drop almost all the way back to around the 13th position. He's got much fresher tires than him, but not a lot of time to run him down.
Not a lot of time, but again, Nick Crawford, based off the bonus points that we talked about of leading a lap and stage bonus points, has a 9-point advantage over Justin Campbell and a 10-point advantage over Cody Reed. They are still within 4 to 5 positions. Nick Crawford is still in a comfortable spot that he'll move on to the championship round.
Definitely still, like you said, in a good spot, but looks like went for that call to see if maybe the caution would happen to try to go for the race win. But I think Crawford always willing to play the strategy that others aren't. Looks like now still Malik Kuntz Tyler Dingler. As old Dingler's coming to pit road, he's going to spin it around actually right at the entrance of pit road. So the 19 mishaps for him. That's going to open up the door for a few more positions for others. But Malik Kuntz about a 5-second lead back to Vincent Sora, which will be the leader when this all cycles through.
And Malik Kuntz, based off what I've seen from Tyler Dingler and a few others, might be able to push this fuel for another 5 to 8 more laps before he's going to have to trickle into pit road. So banking on a caution is this 98 machine. Nick Crawford lasts the fastest lap of the race, currently less than a second behind Justin Smith, and I think Nick Crawford's on that mission, trying to run down this pack. As we take a look at our weather for the final time here tonight, interesting thing, as we've been green, the track temp actually has climbed now up to 83 degrees, as Nick Crawford will take that position over the 6th machine. And just seeing the major speed difference between just a mere 29 lap difference between the 6 and the 74. Let's take a look at our race report. 6 cautions here tonight, as we did have a caution on-track incident bring out our stage yellow, but that lead change, because of all the green flag pit stops and the different pit strategy calls throughout this race, 15 lead changes. That is incredible to see here tonight.
That really is. And we talked about Nick Crawford staying out there, how much faster it was. I mean, he's put almost 2-3 seconds on Justin Smith. He's actually already passed Cody Reed, and he's already 2.5 seconds behind Justin Campbell. So yeah, for Nick Crawford, he's going to feel comfortable moving on to that Final Four to possibly go fight for another championship. But man, it's going to be the question of who joins him. Right now, Campbell looking to be that driver.
Will it be Justin Campbell, Cody Reed? And for Cody Reed, he needs a caution badly to get back into this fight, as we are creeping into our final 20 laps as these drivers march forward. Malik Kuntz just a couple laps away from making a pit stop and handing over the reins to Vincent Sora. Aaron Kralik still needs to make his pit stop, as Thomas Green is moving up into 3rd, and that should be officially 2nd position. Just those 2 drivers of Malik Kuntz and Kralik need to make their final pit stop of the night. Rest of the field have already made their final stop. But Justin Campbell, he is trucking along, but at this point he knows it's not the battle between himself and Nick Crawford, it's his battle between himself and Cody Reed that really matters the most.
That it is. And if you're Nick Crawford here, you want to pass Campbell too, because that helps your teammate. That takes points away from the 9, so maybe gonna do that help for him. But right now it's all going to be all down to that 25 here to make up the ground. But that 2-tire call just hasn't played dividends for him. Still, the lap time just fading away from the 25 as he drifts farther and farther back from this 9 machine.
Again, for Cody Reed, he is 1 point back from Justin Campbell. Those 2 drivers fighting for who will be the last driver to make the Final Four. The other 3 drivers that look pretty solidified. John Forbes, the only officially locked-in driver after his win at Texas last week. Then Vincent Sora, who had such a big points gap over everyone else. He looks pretty solidified unless he gets caught up in a weird wreck here tonight. And also Nick Crawford with some massive points from the stage to the way that he's been racing here tonight. 74 looks good to be the 3rd driver in the playoffs. It's between Justin Campbell, Cody Reed. If Cody Reed is 2 positions ahead of the 9, he will move on to the Final Four. But at this current moment, he is under fire of losing another spot. Justin Smith is there, and these 2 drivers have had some history in the past. They're hoping, if at least for Cody Reed, that history won't grow into more drama with 18 laps to go.
That's for sure. I think if you're Reed, you kind of hope for a yellow. You just hope to not be that yellow, so to say. And right now, 20 seconds down from the lead as these drivers. Vincent Sora is only about a back straightaway behind him. So if they get into a little bit of squabble here, Vincent Sora could quickly catch up to him and put both of them a lap down. And if you're Reed, that is the worst case scenario, is now loose off of 4. This opens up the door for the 6, but he looked to go down and cover it off, but the 6 is already there.
Already there, and it's just the closing rates too massive as Justin Smith tries to make the pass over Cody Reed and not able to make the clearance just yet. Back around 16 laps to go, soon to be 15, after we see our leader Vincent Sora cross the line. And and it continues to be the duel, but Smith's starting to lose that rear end. 15 laps to go now with Sora crossing the line. Cody Reed seeing his chances, never has made the Final Four. And the veteran that has been searching for a chance to hunt for a championship might be seeing each lap tick away and seeing those chances as well drift quicker and quicker. That's going to give the rookie of Justin Campbell a chance for himself to take a championship at Homestead next week. They'll have to defeat the 3 other past champions before this season is over. 14 laps to go. And the closest battle on track was the Cody Reed and Justin Smith battle, but Vincent Sora's closing in. And we've seen Sora in the past. He's lost races for a chance to win them with lap cars getting in the way and making contact with the 15. He's hoping here tonight it won't happen again.
That's for sure. We've seen Vincent Sora have his troubles for sure with the lap cars in his history with iRacing. I think for him, though, he's got to feel confident that he's got about almost a 3-second gap back to Thomas Green. Thomas Green's got 5 lap fresher tires, and he's still gapping them. So that gives him confidence here to come up to these 2 here and not have to really force the issue, but more so just let it come to him. So now he sees him get single file. He's going to look to the inside. And with those 2 running the top like that, that is exactly what he wants to see. His clean air all in the bottom groove, and these 2 in front of him struggling, racing. But if you're Reed, I think you're going to see him fight really hard for this position, because he knows if he goes a lap down and the caution comes out, you know, yeah, he'll get the lucky dog, if anything, if he's the first car lap down. But then you got to go to the tail end of the longest line.
I mean, yes, you would think that he's going to fight for this position, but I think if you're Cody, you kind of know you're more so keeping the fight on Justin Smith more than Vincent Sora, and that's why he continues to ride high. It's the better defensive line if you can keep your foot in the throttle and have the run off the exit of the corner. But Cody Reed, it's just, there's not enough grip, really. He's defending for now, but it's feeling like it's just in the next couple of laps, we're going to be seeing Sora by this 25, and he's already clear through 1 and 2.
That, like you said, Sam, it's going to be tough to hold him off. I mean, running that top groove, yeah, that's the defensive line for sure. I don't think he's got enough center speed to carry to be able to stay there with Vincent Sora, and you'll see the 15 clears. He's got confidence now heading into 1, and that 25 is going to be a lap down now. And if he does, if anything now, if you're Reed, you focus on holding that 6 back, like you said, because now if that yellow flag does fly, you need to be that first car a lap down. If you are not, your night's over.
Your night could be over already if we don't see that yellow flag. It's so needed for a chance to maybe add some spice to the end of this race. We've seen so many chances in the past in the ISRC Truck Series of final race drama. I think back to a couple of seasons ago between John Forbes and Christopher Norris, the fight that went down to the last lap, the final corner of a wreck between the 2 to now allow Christopher Norris to fight for a championship back in season 4. But here tonight, the gaps just seem a little bit too big. It's looming too large, and it's all the past champions that are still in the playoffs that have proven that they are the threat to watch out for at Homestead. And this driver on screen, left after he won the championship in season 1, might be the biggest threat when you look at Homestead next week. I mean, Zach, we really never got to see Vinny run at Homestead, but 1.5 miles always seemed to be his strong suit when we look at the way that he runs these races.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And talking to him, knowing him very well, Homestead is definitely one of his favorite mile and a halves too. It's more on the more low grip side, and I think that kind of favors this 15. He's going to have his hands full. We know the drivers he's fighting against. I mean, you for sure got John Forbes there, a past champion, and look what he did at Texas. He has this new update figured out, and we heard Vince Sora. He said he's got to figure out those little things to get that gap back to John Forbes. Then you'll have, of course, Nick Crawford here. It looks like he's going to be moving on. It looks like Campbell. So you're going to have 3 formidable opponents, but I'd say, if anything, it's going to put him at least not tied for that favorite position, but almost maybe even the favorite heading into there, just knowing the speed he possesses at those tracks.
I mean, I was talking to Vinny even into the night. He didn't even have confidence about this race was the 15, that he was going to run well. He was still trying to figure out the track. Felt like everyone else kind of had that advantage of having the C-Fixed official race here in Iowa this week, and a lot of other drivers practicing prepare for this race. He didn't get that chance, and Vinny here tonight, proving even if other drivers have the practice, the skill that this 15 provides is just incredible. With 4 laps to go, make it 3. Vincent Sora trying to punch his ticket to the final 4 and have a chance to be the only driver to become a 2-time champion in just the 2 seasons he's ran.
It will be. This has been such a comeback for him. And, you know, when we heard the announcement, the 15 coming back to the ISRC Truck Series, everybody knew he would be an immediate contender. Even though he's been off iRacing, he's been doing other stuff. We knew the speed that he possesses, the talent behind that wheel. And I think tonight, showing once again, he's going to go try to fight for another championship to add to his total.
Vincent Sora exiting off of turn number 4. He's hit his marks. He's looked perfect. He grabbed the pole, and off the exit turn 4 and across the line, your freaky fast white flag goes to Vincent Sora. This race is official, and the 15 hits his marks off the exit of turn 2. There was really no question of could he make it to the final 4. The question is, how strong would Vincent Sora be heading into the final race? And it looks like the strength is fully there. Vincent Sora wins here at Iowa Speedway.
What a job to lock himself in. Didn't need the win, but the momentum will be taken nicely for himself as Green's going to come in second. And Aaron Kralik, what a job for him. Going to bring it home on podium position in that 01 machine.
I mean, it feels like it's been forever since we've seen Aaron in a top 3 spot, let alone a top 5 position. Congratulations, that 01 machine. He's going to enjoy it. Thomas Green also with another podium. And the rest of the field, they wait for the calculators, but I believe we have figured out who the 4 drivers will be unofficially running for this championship. We already know 2 at least. John Forbes locked himself in last week in Texas. Here tonight, Vincent Sora will be the 2nd driver racing in the final 4. Will it be? We're looking for officials and where drivers finish. It looks to be Justin Campbell, Nick Crawford. They'll be the next 2 joining for the fight for the Season 6 championship. Well, we're going to step away. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, Vincent Sora, Thomas Green, Eric Kralik, and most likely who's going to be the 4th driver in for the final 4. We'll be back right after this. With one another as side-by-side racing continues on. Christopher Norris has been able to move up 3 spots for himself. Dakota Moniz, another driver in the 5 that's moved up 3 spots. And for Dakota Moniz in the 5 machine, this race is so critical because the driver he's runs, Christopher Norris, and all defense incoming contact into the outside wall. Everyone's got to get around. Norris locks it down, but the 2nd pack is rolling in. It looks to be almost contact, and it is. Major one for the 2nd pack. The admins have to throw the yellow, and that will be your first caution of the day.
Oh man, Sam, that was a huge collision. I don't know who caught, hit Norris in that 2nd pack, but it all started up there with Christopher Norris and Ali Fonseca. It looks like coming off of 2, making some contact. I don't know if it was Netco actually. So I think when we go back and look at this, you'll see that as they come off the exit of 2 here, it's just going to be a gap between them. Puts Norris up in the wall, and then from off the wall, here comes the 38 down off of it into the 24, who's going to slam that wall off the right front of his truck, and then Norris is locking it down, sliding across. It looks like that was the 14 Irizarry and Tyler Dangler.
Tyler Dangler, who was tied in points for the cutoff line. That major damage is going to be critical for himself. Required damage for Tyler Dangler, and that one incident wreck on lap 17 could be the ends and hopes of Tyler Dangler trying to make the playoffs.
That is so heartbreaking for Tyler, who's had a season of ups and downs and some bright spots. You see right here for GT.
Already a car length and a half ahead of Danny Cochran and Vincent Sora.
Great start there for John Forbes, but I think down the back straightaway, he's going to find out real quick how strong this draft is here, as the 2 is going to have a massive head of steam here heading down into 3 and 4. What's he going to do with it? He looks to the inside, but the 11 shuts the door. Now the 15 Vincent Sora, teammate of Danny Cochran's going to look to the outside of the 2.
Trying to bounce to the outside, not able to do so just yet. Gonna have to settle back in line, utilize the draft. Vincent Sora stays high, gives an opening for Cody Reed for a quick moment. Going to read backs out for a better option, but John Forbes stays too high, and now the teammates, they'll stay in line on the inside groove. Cochran gasses up, stays full throttle, and gets a bump draft from his teammate. It's going to be seen. Vincent Sora and Danny Cochran working together on that inside groove as the two, he'll keep his nose ahead to try to lead a lap here.
There we go. Going to try to lead this lap, and Vincent Sora wants to also get a lap led out there because he knows that John Ford has done a good job of already doing that himself. He wants to even that battle out here, try to, heal those wounds such as John Forbes has opened up so far here. But 15 not able to jump up like he wants here. The two just not able to get far enough ahead.
Top 5 drivers, new tires. Then there's a little bit of a gap of Cedric Hunter, Joshua Kanata trying to hold back Justin Smith as the Blue 6 machine. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting as we have the post-race show for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series playoff race number 2 of round number 8. Figure out who was moving on to the final 4 as we head to victory lane. Talk to the 15 machine who just swept everything here tonight, was the fastest during practice, got the pole, won the stage, and now in victory lane, we've got the 15 of Vincent Sora. Vinny, congratulations on the win here tonight for the Blackjack Returns 175. How are you feeling after this pretty dominant performance here at Iowa?
I feel so good. Like I said, I did not have a lot of confidence going into this race, but in practice, something just finally clicked. C Fixed was here this week, and I did a couple of those and just didn't really do very good in them. And I kind of just felt lost on how to pick up the speed, but I was able to figure it out there, thankfully, in practice. And then in the race, I just stayed patient, stayed a lot calmer than I normally do. And I just picked guys off as the run went on, and thankfully everything kind of fell my way there. I think I played the strategy really good to pit when I did, and yeah, I think everything just fell my way tonight.
It definitely seems that way. Vincent, congrats on another win and getting back to victory lane. We know this doesn't carry bonus points. The win personally didn't even need it for yourself, but how much does it help not only the confidence like we just heard from you, but also the momentum headed into, we think, a very good track for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of momentum and a really big confidence boost that I needed. It's been since early April since I got a win. I think it was either Charlotte or Pocono. I've just fell short so many times since then. I think I've had like 3 or 4 seconds. I've had races where I was leading and crashed or something happened. So yeah, I just really needed the confidence boost tonight, and hopefully, yeah, like you said, the momentum to go on into next week and get another title.
Yeah, Vinny, it was Pocono, your last win back in April 15th. And, Vinny, looking at how this update came in, I know also last week you weren't feeling too comfortable with the update to this truck. After 2 weeks since iRacing has updated this machine, what are you feeling? Is there any sense of feeling a lot more confident with the updates done to the trucks?
Well, I don't really know if it was even me not having a lot of confidence in the update as much as just myself. These guys over here who have been racing the truck for the seasons that I've been gone and who have been here since I came, they have a little something extra. I feel like most weeks they have a little more up their sleeve than I do. I think most of the time I haven't been able to put as many hours into it as I'd like to the last probably month or so. So yeah, I think the update is okay. I think I'll pick it up. Hopefully this is kind of setting a statement and showing everybody what I'm capable of again. So yeah, I think maybe with some laps next week, I can go into one of my favorite tracks and get number 2.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to perform next week, Vinny. Congratulations on this win. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, just everybody in the league, all the sponsors that make this possible. I have a lot of fun doing this every week. So yeah, thanks to everybody who puts on this show. Shout out to my teammates. They ran a pretty good race tonight. Cedric had some trouble with his VR, so that really sucks. He honestly could have had a chance to make it in there even after missing last week, I think. I don't know. I don't really know what the point situation was, but yeah, it really sucks for him. I hate to see him get eliminated, and I don't know what the Final 4 is yet, but I think I'm going in facing like an entire team. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out to everybody here and everybody home watching.
Well, based off of unofficial, we're still again waiting for the official numbers to be clicked in. But I believe it's going to be yourself, John Forbes, Nick Crawford, and I believe Justin Campbell might be that final driver. We're waiting for the official points to be clocked in, but that seems to be the four that I have written down. Again, we'll wait and see if that gets proven. But Vinny, for yourself, you are locked in. Congratulations on this win, and good luck on trying to grab that second championship in the series.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too. As we move from victory lane, we go to second place. We bring in Thomas Green, who the 18 machine, this number's been working for him. We have Thomas Green with us. Thomas, congratulations on second. At moments, you look like one of the faster drivers, but you come away second. How are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
Mixed feelings yet again. I'm very happy with the run, and P2 was great. I wanted to pit a little sooner than I did, and now I'm really biting myself for not doing it. But yeah, I mean, just an incredible run overall. I mean, to race with what I consider one of the best drivers I've ever raced with on iRacing, and there's multiple of them in here, and to compete with them, it feels great, and it's really cool. So congrats to Vinny. That was an awesome race, awesome win.
It really was a great battle between you guys, Thomas. I mean, you had the older tires there after staying out from the stage break. Take us through that decision to pit before the stage break there from the lead. I mean, definitely something we were kind of questioning, but you held on so well with even the older tires there.
Yeah, I kind of figured I knew that you could kind of run longer, kind of like what Aaron did there. He ran for forever, and I knew the pace, as long as you could keep your overall pace up, you'd be fine. And I thought to get off strategy, pit before the stage, because I'm not really running for stage points. I ended up getting a stage point still, which wasn't really the goal, but I was more just trying to conserve the tires, and then try to run longer on the next run, and then see if I can either pit earlier than Vinny or kind of just see where we were at that point in the run. And I wanted to pit around where he pitted, or like 4 or 5 laps before that, and that's what I think would have possibly gave me a better chance at winning. But yeah, it's kind of tough to make. I give props to everyone that races in this series, because it's all on the fly. You don't have a crew chief telling you the numbers. You don't have a spotter, or some people have a spotter and crew chief, but I don't. At least it's all just kind of make up your mind in the moment and stick with it and see how it goes. And tonight we were just a little off on that call, but definitely getting better. Third last week, second this week, so hopefully first next week.
We're hoping for it. But Thomas, if we're not able to talk to you next week, are you planning on coming back next season? And if you are, what is the confidence level with the way you've been performing these last few weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely be here next season. Like I said, I love this league. I love you guys. I love watching the broadcast back, and I definitely will be here next season. There's a lot of confidence for sure heading into it. I feel like I've found something recently within myself to kind of back the pace off at times and set up to be there at the end, where I usually kind of just go balls to the wall and just try to get every spot I could on every lap. But now I've kind of have a bigger picture, and I got to attest that to Jarrett, because Jarrett's kind of helped me out as far as like when to pace myself and when to go for it. Obviously, with him making the playoffs and me not, I knew something needed to be different. And yeah, I can't thank him enough for kind of showing me like just relax now and gain the time later. And that's definitely something that's been nice. But I think with an upgrade, I'm looking to upgrade to some direct drive and load cell pedals. So hopefully that'll definitely help with the pace next season too.
Oh, we hope it helps you for next season. Exciting to see yourself and Jared back out on track this season. Congratulations on second. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Just want to say big shout out to Jarrett. I know it's tough to have what happened happen, but I know he's dejected right now. But he ran a hell of a season for us, missing as many races as we did and everything. I mean, he did a great job, and big shout out to my teammate there. Big shout out to you guys for broadcasting. I love watching it back, and you guys always put on a great show. And big shout out to my girlfriend Anna for all the love and support.
That will be your second place finisher here tonight in the 18 machine of Thomas Green. Congratulations, Thomas. on that finish, and good luck next week at Homestead.
Thank you, guys.
As we move from second place, we go down to third, which a driver I am so excited to talk to. It feels like it's been forever. We got Aaron Krolick with us in the 01. Aaron,
Howdy.
it has been
ho.
too long. Welcome to the top three. How are you feeling with the third place finish here tonight?
Man, I'm fully excited, and I honestly don't know what to do with my hands. Oh, it's a long time coming. This is a great feeling. Get a podium at the home track.
Definitely good to see you get a podium up and get the talk up here with us, Aaron. I mean, you definitely played a way different strategy. Take us through that call.
Honestly, that last pit stop, I asked my crew chief how much I needed to save. Said 4 gallons. I just had a gut feeling this would be the part of the race where we go clean and green the rest of the way. So I just started clutching into the corners for about, I don't know what, the last probably until after Thomas Green passed me is whenever I started unclutching throughout the corner. That was
I mean, it was a bold strategy for yourself, Aaron. It was incredible to watch the fact that you finished in third. I know it shocked us when we looked at the leaderboard and we're like, oh, there's the 01 in third. Looking back, the last time that you really finished inside of the top 5 was all the way back in July 17th of 2022 at Homestead. How are you feeling the fact that you are a returning driver? You were gone for a couple of seasons back. You now get this finish, and we're now heading to the track that you've performed well at in the past as well.
Man, it just feels like a weight off my shoulders, but I just hope I have decent luck next week. That's all I can really ask for. But no, the competition of the field is just skyrocketed from season 1 and the last time I raced. So you really have to pull out these bold strategies. Nick Crawford, he's another one that does the bold strategies all the time. He's got a couple wins, but I figured, hey, I got nothing to lose. I'm not in the playoffs, and what's the worst thing that could happen? Me finishing last, or possibly maybe fighting for a win. And if Vince wasn't just so so darn fast, it probably would have worked. But Vince is on a whole other level, and congrats to him on the win. But this is a great feeling to be back in the booth with you guys.
It has been too long, Aaron. Well, before we officially let you go, though, the floor is now yours for any shout out.
Oh man! First off, you guys are putting on an excellent broadcast as always, and I'm gonna have to shout out the teammates. Dakota Moniz and Jesse Thornock. So, and just everyone who's out there watching this incredible show. Thank you for tuning in each and every week.
Well, that will be your third place finisher here tonight. Aaron, congratulations on this finish. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Homestead.
Likewise. Thank you.
As we move from third place, we move down all the way to 7th position, where we find Justin Campbell in the 9 machine. Another close cutoff spot. In the 9 looks to be the driver. We have officially been given word. Justin Campbell, with his finish in 7th place, is good enough to place him into the Final 4. Justin, congratulations on making the Final 4. How are you feeling after it looked like a very rough and roller coaster type of an evening?
It indeed was a rough one tonight. Towards the end of the stage, that incident kind of screwed up everything for me. So tried to get most of the damage repaired as quick as possible. Went a lap down. Thankfully managed to get back on the lead lap and was able to bring it home somehow, 4 points to the good.
It definitely had to be nerve-wracking, Justin. I mean, you look like in such a good position to get great stage points there. Of course, got spun in that incident there. I mean, how do you take your mindset from, just feeling like you're in a great position to now I got to bounce back and I'm, kind of on the back foot now. So, take us through how you had to really fight through that.
Honestly, I really felt like my race was over whenever we got involved in that wreck. towards the end of the stage. Car just drove horribly, but as repairs are being done, it drove somewhat slightly better. But I had initially thought it was over, but once we had a long run and realized the pace I had, I mean, I kind of had a little bit more confidence in what I needed, but I didn't know the exact point situation.
I mean, you made it in 4 points, like you said. What is the confidence level now, knowing that you have a chance to fight for this championship at Homestead next week?
Honestly, I'm not over confident about myself in this championship run. Homestead is not a very great track for me. So I'm gonna put a bunch of laps in for next week whenever we do the Homestead race.
Well, we cannot wait to see how you're going to compete against those other former championship winners. Justin, congratulations on making the Final Four. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout out.
Thank you to my teammates for helping me throughout the season and to get to this point. So want to fight as hard as I can to get a championship for them.
Well, that will be the 9 machine again, finishing 7th, and it was just enough to make it to the Final Four of Justin Campbell. Justin, congratulations. Enjoy this one, and good luck next week trying to take that championship.
Thank you, sir.
As we move away from our interviews, we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight. A wild race. We now know our 4 drivers that will hunt for a championship, being former past champions. Last season's champion, John Forbes, will be trying to go back-to-back and become the first driver to become a 2-time champion and a back-to-back champion. Nick Crawford, also a former champion. Vincent Sora, the inaugural champion, will be in the Final Four as well, with Justin Campbell pushing out Cody Reed by 4 points. But let's take a look at our unofficial results for tonight's race before we get too far ahead of ourselves, as your winner going to be Vincent Sora in the 15 machine. Second place, we find the 18 of Thomas Green, a great run for himself. And again, Eric Krolick clutched up and found himself running over 100 laps under this fuel cell for himself. And the 01 will finish 3rd, John Forbes 4th, Nick Crawford 5th. 6th, we find Danny Cochran and Justin Campbell. And the last 3 laps, we went back and saw it. Zach had the most stressful final 3 laps. He almost was caught up in a wreck between Ollie Fonseca and Joshua Kanata that could have changed his whole entire Final Four hopes, with Cody Reed finishing 10th. I think that was probably the wildest thing that could have happened to the 9, is that in those final 3 laps, he could have been knocked out of the Final Four.
Yeah, we were looking over that after the race was over, and there was 2 or 3 moments there at the end that really could have caught the 9 out, but great job by Campbell. We just heard from there that he was almost mentally out of it after that incident. He thought it was over, but great job, the rebound there. As you look through the rest of the order there, definitely some tough nights. Cedric Hunter there in 12th after starting 2nd, leading some laps early. Major issues with the VR, just never was able to recover from that. Then all the way back there in 21st, Jarrett Talmadge, after his incident blowing the motor. That had to be a heartbreak for him entering the night with a very good shot to move on to the Final Four. But we know how good Jarrett is. He will be back and fighting for that chance once again.
I think Jarrett Talmadge and Thomas Green, those teammates, going to be a threat next season. But like I said, Jarrett Talmadge is out, blown engine. Cody Reed missing out by 4 points. One of the few drivers that could point their way in with Justin Campbell. And then Cedric Hunter is out, and Christopher Norris, who's on vacation, sadly had to watch his other competitors run for a championship next week. But congratulations, John Forbes, his 3rd attempt at a championship. He makes the Final Four for the 3rd time. Nick Crawford makes the Final Four for the 3rd time for himself. Vincent Sora, can he be the one driver that every time he makes the Final Four, he wins a championship? It's going to be a historic run for himself next week. And then the first time maker of the Final Four and rookie this season, Justin Campbell, makes it to the Final Four. Those 4 drivers, big favorites, and I think ultimately they were some of the top 6 drivers. 4 of our top 6, you could say, are the drivers that made it to our Final Four here, Zach.
It really was, Sam. It's been such a tremendous season up to this point. And I tell you, with the 4 that we have going into Homestead, it's going to be really anybody's game. I think Campbell, of course, is going to be the underdog with those 3 past champions. But we saw his resilience tonight, what he bounced back from. He's had those moments. I mean, even the Roval, he's really had moments of surprising me this season, and I think don't count him out. Just because he's the underdog, just because everybody, looks at these past champions as probably the drivers to beat, I think you cannot count out that 9. He's got an equal chance, like we said. You go home with the even playing field. It's just going to be where you finish at the night. Stage points don't matter. Laps led don't matter. Incident points don't matter. It's going to be when that checker flag flies, what position you're in. And with the 4 we got, it's going to be quite the show, I think, for sure.
It's going to be an incredible show that you do not want to miss out on. And speaking about fantastic shows you want to miss out on, we got this week's schedule for you as we find ourselves being done with tonight on Monday for the ISRC Truck Series. We'll be back for the last race of the season next week. Tuesdays, if you'd like to get yourself covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting on Tuesday night, message us on X/Twitter or on Facebook at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'd love to get in contact with you to give you coverage of the amazing racing that you might have here on iRacing. Wednesday, it's great to see WSSR. The first 4 weeks of terror is out of the way. It's time to get to more traditional NASCAR racetracks as the WSSR Cup Series heads to Michigan. And it's talked about season's coming to an end. Well, the Doghouse Cup Series is coming to the end. Charlotte, the final race of the season. It's between the teammates. Will it be Andrew St. Cour or will it be Kevin Thompson taking the crown for the 2024 Season 1 Championship? You don't want to miss it. Thursday night is championship racing action. That's our upcoming week and how the rest of this week's going to go down. But Zach, a great week of racing, but man, what a race we had here tonight.
It was really exciting. Iowa, I think, always puts on quite the show. So it's cool to see, the racing that we got to produce. It definitely started a little bumpy with some issues for people, but it made quite the dramatic ending for us here, and really not knowing who was going to be in that final 4th position for the final 4. So it's been a good season so far. So excited to close it out. Of course, we got Doghouse. They're closing out this Thursday. Got WSSR, after their crazy start. I think we'll start to calm down a little bit for them. But, we got some great racing going on, but we still got time to crown a champion next week.
It is going to be a time you do not want to miss. But for tonight, congratulations to Vincent Sora and to all the other competitors that made it to the final 4 of John Forbes, Nick Crawford, and Justin Campbell. Next week, Homestead, who will grab the Season 6 championship. You don't want to miss it. But for us here tonight, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us. So it was a pleasure to give you all the racing coverage. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button or the like button if you enjoyed our broadcast. And also comment down below, what was your favorite moment of the night? And who do you think is going to win the championship next week at Homestead? But for tonight's race, it was a pleasure to give you the racing coverage of the Iowa Speedway Blackjack Returns 175. And we now have a returning champ, 3 that will run for a championship, and a rookie that will try to defeat the veterans. Don't want to miss it. Next week's going to be a fun one at Homestead for the conclusion of the Season 6 ISRC Larry Art Productions Truck Series. But for us, if you cannot wait until next week, we'll see you Wednesday night, Michigan, the next destination for the WSSR Cup Series. Thank you so much for joining with us. We'll see you on Wednesday for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.